Welcome to the King Leo Show, everybody. I'm your host, King Leo. How's everyone doing tonight? It's a big night. Happy Friday. Whew. Sorry, I'm a little out of breath. Welcome to the King Leo Show, everybody. The audio's good. Leo, how's everyone doing tonight? It's a big night. Happy Friday. Perfect. Yeah, I just finished jogging. Woo! How's everyone doing tonight? We got a lot of news to cover. It's going to be a good night. I'm going to have the chat up here so we can see everything. I'm expecting more people to be excited. All right, everyone. So, lots to see, all right? Schizo Watch is going to be a little shorter today because there's a lot to see. Trump today, I think this is the best way of summing it up.
What happened? I won.
That's Trump today, dude. Just bringing in the enemies, making them good. That's why I have the Scarface shirt on today, all right? Bringing in the enemies, pacifying them, if we want to call it that, and moving out the real enemies, okay? Making friends of people that could be friends and making enemies leave. MTG's gone. Zohran is in, it seems. Zohran is in. So let's get to it before we do. As always, I got to shill. So here you have the Patreon. We actually had someone else join as a free member, which is just as good. I appreciate that. Guys, join the Patreon. The link's in the description. The Discord is free. Audio Vibes is in here. That link is in the description too. The What Would Piers Morgan Do parody bracelet right here on Ko-fi. Link is in the description as well. But you can also become a member on YouTube, which just costs you $2 a month. And it helps the channel tremendously. Whew. I'm sorry, guys. Dude, I am tired. I got 2.5 miles today. 2.5. I see Gateway Man is here. How you doing, Gateway Man? Congrats on going over 1K, King Leo. Thank you, Gateway Man. I appreciate that. Let's do some air horns for that. 100K soon. 100K soon. All right. Let's get to it. Let's do Schizo Watch because we got to cover this Trump stuff, dude. And I want to watch the full press conference. I want to watch some PBD. There's a lot to watch, okay? So this is going to be a shorter Schizo Watch. All right, let's start with... I think this is pretty good. All right, let's go here. Let me do our title card. All right, so for Schizo Watch, let's start with our vice president, who's telling us to have a whole lot of patience with this declining economy we have. Let's see what his exact words were.
And even though we've made incredible progress, we understand that there's a lot more work to do. And the thing that I'd ask for the American people is a little bit of patience. This economy, and even though...
All right. When you have to pay the tariff, there's no patience for you, all right? But when they need a little time to cook, you gotta be patient. Dude, this is Big Brother shit, man. Especially after the Zohran thing today, the Trump cult is truly mystifying to me, where these people will just shit on their supporters and no one will leave. Like, everyone's still there that's in the cult. People will not peel off. Gateway Man says, that's some big-time Cobra energy. Thank you, sir. We might talk about Cobra one of these days. We might be cooking something. Mystery Lou, how you doing? I walk 1.8 miles every day back and forth from work. That's pretty healthy, actually, man. That's pretty good. You double it. But let's listen to our vice president again, dude, because I'm really wondering if you go to the court for an IRS issue, right? Can you give them this?
And even though we've made incredible progress, we understand that there's a lot more work to do. And the thing that I'd ask for the American people is a little bit of patience. This economy.
The thing is, IRS, we've accomplished so much this year, and there's still work to do. All I'm asking for is a little bit of patience. Do you think that would fly? Then why does it fly with you? All right. How you doing, Aria? Mr. Elu says, JD Vance has no Riz. MTG is the future. Let's see. We have to analyze that, dude. I have her full statement. Let's continue with Schizo Watch. Here we have, look, dude, how are they getting these guns in Chicago, man?
When you ran?
P90 bit. Yeah, I'm finna rap.
Who you
New bitch sent to the collection.
They finna go to, y'all finna do that.
New bitch to the collection.
This shit is like super duper illegal, dude. This gun is like illegal. You're supposed to have a longer barrel. And I saw a lot of people, the reason I put it in Schizo Watch is a lot of people were like, it's the government, man. They're dropping these guns off in the neighborhood. Maybe it's true. I'm not to contradict. But the fact that it's even there and causing this mental distress is an issue. Like, how is this getting here? And the conversation around it is the government's bringing it in. The Chinese are bringing it in. Everyone is the Spider-Man meme, dude. Like, it's ridiculous, man. And I just don't understand, because in Europe or Latin America, the guns they get, well, Latin America is different, but in Europe, it's like shitty guns. Dude, how do these guys get this shit? It's crazy. Let's continue. Here for Schizo Watch, I think it's best. We've talked a lot about how Richard Spencer became normal. I don't know how it happened, dude, but he's like a lib now. And we've been talking a lot about Nick Fuentes and his interview with Tucker Carlson and all these things, and how I had the suspicion that maybe they're trying to bring him in, which I think is even more confirmed now. And here I pulled Spencer himself just outright saying it, and he's more articulate on this than I am, so I just wanted to play it for you guys, where now the former white nationalist, or current, I don't even know, that got hit in the head by Antifa, that must have knocked his brain pretty good, because he's fucking spitting fire takes now. He's the most rational guy in the room.
Here's my book, and we're gonna sort of displace, with all this money, we're gonna displace the paleo-conservative movement that probably deserved to be displaced. And we are basically going to be our own intellectual alt-right. But we are going to not disinvite all of the people who in some way or another did the intellectual labor to be in that movement. And I'm not saying me. I was involved in paleoconservatism for a while. I don't like any of that stuff, and it never really, I was always pushing in a different direction. But like, I don't know, you disinvite like Peter Brimelow and Jared Taylor. Like, what are you saying that is really different from what they're saying? Nothing. But it's about you. It's about, we're coming in and stealing your jam, and we're going to be the like kind of racist, like secret, like racist, but nationalist, pro-Trump, but we wear a coat and tie, that kind of thing. And that, like, not that Yoram Hazani is unintelligent or anything like that, but he is just as much of a psyop or false opposition or fake right-wing figure as Lomez is, or Captive Dreamer, or whatever. It's the same thing. He just...
So what's interesting is the case, and this comes out of a wider clip, but you can get the gist of it, is that Spencer's making the argument that, dude, like, this is controlled opposition that's coming in. This Tucker corralling, as we've been calling it, just corralling this slave plantation master coming in and bringing, everyone's a house slave now. Nick Fuentes, you're a house slave. Come on in. We're all good. We're all behind J.D. Vance. I think it's true. I think this is true. And I wonder why it takes someone like Richard Spencer. No one else has said this. I haven't seen anyone else. Everyone is, I'm freaking out that Nick Fuentes is getting normalized. The only guy I've seen that has a cool head, and he's like, listen, what they're doing is they're co-opting. Pretty soon they're all going to be voting for J.D. Vance. Is this guy over here? It's this guy over here. And I have to say, I find it a very persuasive theory. It's a very persuasive theory. Let's continue. Guys, I want to catch up with the chat, but we have to get to the main story. I thought this was good to show here. Obviously, I found this is racially tinged, or ethnically tinged. It's called The Oxford Union used to host the brightest minds on earth. Now it's a cesspit of screaming children who can't hold a basic conversation. And you notice the people that they're showing are largely people of Arab or South Asian descent who are yelling at each other. And I don't blame them, dude. This is an inability to recognize that debate was a bad idea. The Oxford Union was always debate. And guess what? If the rule that followed led you to this, of what use was the rule? They didn't throw out any rules. They're doing the same shit they've always done. Let's watch what's going on in Oxford.
I might just say that I understand there are plenty of people in this room who don't agree with us, who don't like us. But this esteemed establishment is meant to be a bastion of free speech, discussion, and debate. And this example is not.
That's what debate is, folks. That's what debate is. And this is why I'm so anti-debate. This is why, sincerely, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, this debate culture is destroying people's minds. If you want to have civilized debate, whatever the fuck that means, why don't you just do a boxing match? Why don't you do that? That is more civilized than whatever this wordsmithing crap is, and it just makes everyone angry. You think any of these people want to be angry? I don't think they want to be angry. I think they'd rather be at home. Debate is useful.
Any of those things. And I urge all of you, I'm here to tell you my side of an argument. I also attended this university. I was a student here, and I understand that part of the experience of being a student is to be challenged by thoughts and facts and information that you may not agree with or you.
I thought being a student in our neoliberal world was to get a piece of paper that would get you a job. But I guess now that doesn't matter anymore, that you can't get a job despite your piece of paper, it's going to turn into a scam where you show up to fight other people all day. I thought universities were meant for you to learn physics and science and humanities. And people like to shit on that, and the humanities. But no, now it's to show up to fight other people. You might as well open a CrossFit gym. You might as well open an MMA studio. It would be more useful than whatever the fuck they're doing at Oxford.
You may not like, but to shout like that, to abuse a speaker who is being respectful and
abuse. You haven't seen abuse, man. I know where debate leads, and that is not the abuse it leads to. Ask Charlie Kirk where it leads to. Rest in peace.
Giving you their side of an argument is not the way to achieve better knowledge or understanding of anything. I will give all of the proposition speakers their dues.
What a waste of fucking time, dude. If you're in college, I'm not one of these people to tell you to drop out of college. And you see, look at the memes. Import the third world, become the third world. Oh, so it was productive. So it was productive before, but now it's unproductive. You just showed other people what debate is. And other people come from other cultures. Maybe they don't like the debate. Maybe they think it's stupid. I think it's stupid. I don't engage in it. But maybe other people, they really don't like it. And they think that shouting over you is the correct response. And they're completely validated. They're completely right. Because what is the point of this? They used to do debates in newspapers. They used to write out in newspapers. That to me makes a lot more sense than whatever this clickbait, clip farming culture is of debate. It's just crap, dude. We're just dealing with crap. Let's catch up with the chats and we'll see if we change stories. We have a lot to do. Yeah, it's 10:30. Let's keep going. How you doing, People's Press? How you doing, Mr. Elu? How you doing, Ephra, Aria? Glad to see you guys here. Let's see what we can read. Yes, MTG resigned, Aria. We're going to talk about that today. Ephra says, people have to do mistakes and step back and analyze their own failures as a person. The losers are the ones who don't want to take the L and learn the lesson and move on. Yep, that's very true. And that is not the attitude of the United States. That's one of the big reasons I hate this fentanyl stuff, where people only AMLO said this. AMLO said, hey, maybe you guys should take a look at yourselves and see why you're consuming these drugs that have fentanyl in them. I'm not saying it's okay to send in the fentanyl, but maybe there's a spiritual problem. There's a spiritual dimension. People won't do that, you know? People would look better from gyms too, says Mr. Elo. Yeah, everyone should do a 4-year gym degree at this point. All right, so let's move on because there's so much to do. All right, so that's the end of Schizo Watch. Let me play us out here. And so obviously the main story we're looking at today is Trump met with Zohran Mamdani, which I gotta say, I predicted this. I predicted that they would work well together, that it was going to work out, that it wasn't going to be, I think Aria last night said it could be like a Zelensky type thing. I don't think that's the case. Okay? So let's see. We're going to watch the whole thing. People's Press provided us with the 30-minute thing. Thank you, People's Press. Shout out to People's Press. He uploaded it. Let's watch here just a highlight first, a little primer and a meme that they made around it, which is pretty good.
Just had a great meeting, a really good, very productive meeting. We have one thing in common. We want this city of ours that we love to do very well. And I wanted to congratulate the mayor. He really ran an incredible race against, a lot of smart people, starting with the early primaries against some very tough people, very smart people. And he beat them easily, and I congratulated him. Just had a great meeting.
Very cool. Very nice. We're going to watch the whole thing. The whole thing was very conciliatory. And here's the meme. Trump after one brief meeting with Mamdani.
And let me tell you, I've been taken up to the third heaven. I've been jacked into the big plan. I've seen it. I can't even compute all of it. It's so fantastic. You've not seen nothing. You ain't heard nothing. You ain't smelled nothing like this. I don't have words to tell you. But I tell you, anybody tries to get in the way of the incredible plan the big guy's got for us has got me pissed, and I'm just begging to stay on the team, man. Just put me in the game, coach. Whatever you say, coach. I know I'm weak. I know I'm pathetic. Man, you're amazing. I'm so lucky.
So I think a lot of people are really... Whoa. Sorry there. A lot of people are coming around to the conclusion of MAGA communism, whether it's ironic or not. I think a lot of people are starting to see that these two things converge. The Mamdani, because a lot of people are saying, oh, it's because Trump respects winners, and I think that's part of it. I think another part of it is that Trump sees an easy way to scam, because we're going to watch this with this real estate stuff that Mamdani's going to do. Mamdani's going to build a lot of real estate. If anyone likes real estate scams, it's Trump. I'm not saying it is a real estate scam, what he's trying to do with the affordable housing. But, it's a leaky bucket when you start doing that type of housing. So, and Jose, how you doing, Jose? It says Trump is the biggest star fucker and he loves winners. And he won despite of Trump, So, let's move on. Yeah, we're just going to save this, dude. We got to save that. We got to save that. All right. Here are some pictures that came out of it, and they were pretty nice. So here we have Trump and Mamdani with the FDR portrait that they're going to reference, actually, in the video. And it's a very nice portrait. I didn't know this portrait of FDR existed before Trump brought it out, actually. So I'm going to give Trump credit on that. And if we go over here, this is a very nice picture, man. I'm really glad how Mamdani dressed. If Mamdani had showed up in a thobe, like in his first ad, could you imagine the Zelensky moment that would have happened? But no, this is a very good look for both of them. It's a very good look. A little slouched shoulder, but it's a very good look. And, all right, let's get to it. So we have to start with, I'm going to start with what was expected before, okay? What they expected before this is best encapsulated by PBD. So we're going to have to do a little PBD watching.
Feel free to push back. I'm comfortable with it. And then there's the lions that live in the jungle who have to go get their own meat. I'll give you an idea. And you refuse to hunt. You email me, I won't respond. You DM me, I will not respond. Not on LinkedIn, not on Twitter. Dropping the N-word.
So here, PBD was talking today with, I'm going to call him, I'm going to be nice. I'm not going to say it in the way that it should be said. He's on with Scott Jennings, who is CNN's house slave, okay? He has the slave mentality.
This is exactly what I'm talking about, the slave mentality, the slave mind.
Scott Jennings is a slave. He likes to be a slave to CNN. He loves it. He loves to be the heel of CNN. And I don't respect it just because I like a heel usually, but it's so transparent that he likes being the heel that this house slave behavior on CNN that Scott Jennings does is like, dude, you can see he's, yes, massa, I love CNN. I love to live here in the big house at CNN. Yeah, it's literally that, dude. That's Scott Jennings' whole career. But he was on with Adam and PBD, who is an insider. PBD, let's be clear. This is why I'm covering it. PBD is an important guy. He gets leaks. And before we get into it, I just want to remind you that this guy on screen right now, Adam, called him a jihadist, a socialist, a communist, an Islamist, a radical Muslim. Vinny did as well. Let's see how they perceived this meeting before it happened. Let's see what happened. Oh, boy. Oh, boy, PBD time.
And by the way, while we're talking about this, Mamdani, today, I think he's visiting the president. And he actually, believe it or not, respect to him, he approached the president about visiting the White House, not the other way around. He wanted to come and visit. And then the president said what he said, communist, mayor, New York City is coming. And then Caroline Leavitt also in her press conference said, communist mayor is coming. So they're all aligned on the same page with messaging.
So immediately, big change of tone from PBD. Huge change. PBD was feeding into this whole, he's going to make New York a Muslim caliphate. He is going to cut off women's hymen and kill them, and then he's going to make everyone pray. I mean, he didn't say it like that, but that's essentially what he said. Because PBD, and this is why he's so valuable to watch, he has the Trump grifter psychology, and he recognizes a winner when he sees it. How you doing, everything? King Sliwa was right, so that doesn't make him a wizard. in a way, you sure. Let's see what power Sliwa can amount from the outside, because he looks ambitious, and if he's able to do it, it's going to be very cool.
But here's, if you have Mamdani's clip about him coming to the White House, Rob, this is before and after. Whichever one you got, Rob, you can play. It's totally fine. Okay, we'll do that. Go ahead.
I will be heading to Washington, D.C. tomorrow to meet with President Trump in the White House. It is customary for an incoming mayor of this city to meet with the White House, given the mutual reliance. It's more critical than ever, given the national crisis of affordability, one that New Yorkers know very well across these 5 boroughs, and the specific challenge many cities are facing with balancing public safety against steps taken by this administration. I know that for tens of thousands of New Yorkers, this meeting is between 2 very different candidates who they voted for the same reason.
This is because this is getting to Trump. What he just said there is a great act of sorcery. Very smart. He's aligning himself with Trump, and he does this at the meeting too. I wish we could have seen the closed door meeting, but obviously it's closed door. He's saying, dude, they voted for us for the same reason. And Trump is going to watch this or get a gist of it, obviously, which you always want to do this. You always want to establish, if you want to get something out of someone, that you are the same, that you have something in common. And he's doing it, and the media is going to amplify. They're going to say, what do you mean? How can you be the same? I made a video this week. Is Zohran the new Trump? And in a lot of ways, he has the same intelligence. And this is very smart to say, hey, man, we want the same things. We have the same voters. Why wouldn't we deliver? Because of a little ideology difference? Very, very, very good preface to the actual meeting.
Wanted a leader who would take on the cost of living crisis that makes it impossible for working people to afford living in this city. My team reached out to the White House to set up this meeting because I will work with anyone to make life more affordable for the more than 8.5 million people who call this city home. I have many disagreements with the president.
Also, the fact he reached out, it can be interpreted 2 ways, in my opinion, whether it's I'm kissing the ring or I'm the one setting the terms for this meeting. I don't know how that would have been interpreted by Trump, but it's a good, dude, this guy has been moving expertly to get something done. A lot of lefties I've seen, they're like, how could he do? He needs to use Trump. He needs Trump on side. I mean, do you want to get, I don't think Zohran's going to be able to deliver on a lot of stuff personally, but I do think on the affordable housing thing, this is his strongest ally. He would get federal funds for that. If Trump finds a way to scam, he's going to get on board. So why would you be mad at someone who's playing real politics?
And I believe that we should be relentless and pursue all avenues and all meetings that could make our city affordable for every single New Yorker. I intend to make it clear to President Trump that I will work with him on any agenda that benefits New Yorkers. If an agenda hurts New Yorkers, I will also be the first to say so.
Okay, so Scott, your thoughts. Is it going to be theatrics? Is it going to be a Zelensky type of a look, or is it going to be actually diplomatic, wanting to find a way to work together?
Well, I would hope that they would talk about ways.
The Scott's eating good at CNN. Look at how they treat the house slaves, bro. The house slaves get a nice, what is this, linen? No, it's not linen. Is that wool? A nice tweed-looking suit. Oh, my God. They get a nice little book deal. It ain't that bad in the big house. I mean, this is Steven from Django. It ain't that bad to be in the big house. I love being house slave Scott Jennings. What a pathetic man. Dude, pathetic. Mr. Elu says Trump can print money, Mamdani can't. Yeah, absolutely. And they're going to get to it where New York is having trouble raising money because they're having trouble selling bonds. And let me make this big for you. If you've seen the documentary Hypernormalization, it's very good. It's by Adam Curtis. He goes through when New York had this same issue in the 70s where they could not sell bonds. And it's actually very scary when that happens, when a city can't sell bonds because they cannot raise money anymore. And what happened in the 70s is they had to sign over control to the banks. And the banks they fired everyone. They fired all the cops. They fired all the firefighters. Austerity measures came in. So let me ask you, given that this has happened before, watch Hypernormalization. Great documentary. It goes through it. Would you rather Mamdani allies with the banks that are not going to buy the bonds and they're going to try to pull over, or the drunken sailor we have as president, Donald Gorbachev or Donald Mobutu, who will give anyone money as long as he likes them? Do you want to be owned by the banks, or do you want to be owned somewhat by Trump? I think the banks are significantly more evil, personally, but it's up to you. It's up to you.
To work together. I just have no belief that Mamdani knows what he's doing at all. The guy's never had a job. He's not qualified to manage the city of New York. And already the things he promised in the campaign, he's having to explain now, well, we can't do this, we can't do that. By the way, he spent a good chunk of his post-election time saying that one of his top priorities is if Netanyahu comes here, I'm going to arrest him if he comes to New York City. And he spent a lot of time saying, I'm not going to cooperate, and in fact, I'm going to try to impede.
What I love about watching Scott Jennings here, dude, is that these are all the talking points that he says on CNN. So he probably gets a script. He wakes up in the big house, big stretch. Briar Rabbit, how are you doing? How are you doing? Oh, Massa, you got a new list for me, Massa? Oh, I see. He hates Bibi. He gonna do socialism. Massa, don't you worry. I'm gonna read this, and we're gonna say exactly as it has to be, Massa. Dude, this is so demeaning. Netanyahu is a funny heel. This is not a funny heel. How can you repeat the same talking points everywhere you go? Massa, thank you for the talking points. I ain't gotta do no work out in the fields.
Federal law enforcement if they come here to enforce immigration law. So I kind of hope Trump sort of explains to Mamdani how the world works. Like, I'll handle the international diplomacy. I'm the president. And by the way, you're not going to stop me from enforcing existing federal laws on immigration. We haven't passed any new laws since Trump became the president. These are the laws. They're the existing laws. But Mamdani, like every other local Democrat, mayor and governor, believes that it is their responsibility to try to impede and stop the federal government and federal law enforcement from enforcing existing laws. So I hope Trump sets them straight on this. And I would love it if they could talk about things. But I'll tell you this, socialism is not the cure for affordability. I can assure you of that. Go to a socialist country and find out if they think things are affordable or good.
What country are they going to mention? What country are they... Bro, it's so predictable. Oh. Massa, I don't want no chitlins, Massa. Can I have a good steak? Oh, I can have some of yours. Oh, thank you, Massa. It's a little fatty, but it's good. Dude, this is a house slave. This is the slave mentality.
This is exactly what I'm talking about, the slave mentality, the slave mind.
Imagine being, dude, how much money can they pay you to be this cocked? Like, this... Come on, man. I don't want to make this about Scott Jennings, but it's just pathetic to watch. Let's catch up with the chats a little bit here. Effer says, yes, exactly. MAGA now wants to associate with Mamdani base, but AF, I assume you mean like the Groyper types, is competing for their association too. That would be the next thing. Yeah, you're right. And I think the MAGA base, since they have the money printer, Efra, they're going to actually be able to win out on that. If you have the money printer, if they actually make New York super nice, why wouldn't you vote for the MAGA people if they give you money? Arya says MAGA isn't even that big a deal. Bernie would have beat Trump because he is a real populist. Bernie would do endless wars and would be like FDR. Arya, they did win though. That makes them a big deal, Scott is trying to run for office. No way. No, Arya. No way. This man, this house slave is not winning the off. He's not winning. Can you imagine you show up like? Obviously, you have to get some African-American involvement because you don't want it to come off as racist. But you just show up and you're like, oh, we love Massa. Like at a rally, you start yelling, oh, we love Massa. Yes, Scott Jennings. Like this campaign would be over. Like this is ridiculous. No one this spineless could win something. No one this spineless. Everything says the good old banks. Yeah, dude, the banks did not buy bonds in New York in the 70s. It was a scary time to be there. If you watch the documentary, I might put the link in the chat because they're all free online, Hypernormalization. You see the moment that the mayor saw that they were not going to buy the bonds. And he was like, fuck, dude, we are fucked. It's crazy. Ari's asking about my teeth. I've used whiteners before, Ari. Like strips and the little machine you put in your mouth with the blue thing. But mostly, you got to floss every day. You got to floss. But if you buy any whitener online, they're pretty good. The ones that are really good are the ones that have the blue light. Those are good. YC, how you doing? Venezuela. How did you know? All right, let's continue here. Which socialist country are they going to mention that's completely destroyed?
Good. It's not.
Look at Venezuela.
Yeah.
Oh.
Welcome to the pain zone. It's where we live.
How do you watch the same talking points every day, conservatives? How do you watch this and not lose your mind? They watch this 24 hours a day, dude. It's not ever different.
Yeah, I mean, we just haven't tried it enough. I mean, that's kind of we just haven't gone all the way. I assure you, you don't want to go all the way.
Here's some good news coming out of New York. Mamdani, who hates billionaires, who wants to redistribute wealth, wants to seize the means of production, he's doing a big fundraise.
He just asked for $3 million.
I don't know if you have that.
Yeah, he asked for three
more. Hey, guys, you know I don't like money and billionaires.
I told you to stop giving, but I got to ask you.
These guys said that he was going to essentially do 9/11 Part 2, but now their complaint is that he's asking for money. You know, Osama bin Laden's real crime was actually just not documenting his tax policy. They're not documenting his tax documents properly. Wow, that came out terrible. The problem with Hezbollah, the problem with the IRA is not really that they engage in terrorism as described by some countries, but the problem is that they do fundraisers. We have the most retarded. And I know that conservatives, within a week, they're going to be like, oh, this Mamdani's not that bad because it's a fucking cult.
Tommy, he did another time. There's another one. There's a part 2 where he goes, remember I said that? By the way, it's so cringe.
But now we need your money. Do you have that, Rob?
Don't play that. We've played it already. I mean, the audience gets it.
You know what
we're talking about.
Mamdani has seen the spreadsheet. The reason Mamdani's going to New York is one thing. His crew has said, listen, we got to find a way to play nice with the White House because we can get the money from Albany, but then we need Albany to get the money from the U.S. government. That's what's going on here. He wants to push the socialism. He's trying to get Hochul, and all of a sudden Hochul slips, hits her head in the shower, stands up and says, you know what, maybe there should be a 3% tax higher on businesses here in New York. And she needs that because she needs a bucket of money to help New York because New York's in a deficit situation.
So you just described how he won. Because there's a deficit and he's given room for the governor to raise taxes. You just described how he won. But they're painting it out as a failure. These people don't get it. Only PBD sticks up for Mamdani here. You're going to see.
New York is going to have a hard time selling more bonds. Go Google Goldman Sachs bonds, New York State, and you'll find out that state's having a harder time selling bonds to make up its debt. So what does he have to do? He's got to go play nice with the president so that they can get money back to New York State from the taxpayers of these United States. It's that simple.
We don't have to show the clip, but he was sitting
Nothing has changed. His attitudes aren't changing. His programs aren't changing. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
Put the period on that.
No, it's all
Nothing's changing in his positions. He still wants to do what he said he's going to do. Believe him. Yeah. This is his team telling him go play nice and find a way to say about it. I know what I'll say. Hello, everyone. Good morning. It's traditional for the incoming mayor to go visit the White House because underneath it's like otherwise he wouldn't do it because he hates all that Trump stands for. We need to understand what's really going on here.
And in an interview yesterday or the day before.
More coffee, please.
Yes. Somebody asked about the free buses, so I want New Yorkers to know that they got swindled. The interviewer says, how are you going to get the $700 million to make the buses free if the governor is not going to raise?
He said that he was a member of a jihadist organization and that he was going to have men beating their wives. And now he's flipping to, he's not going to deliver on the free buses. Worms for brains, dude. Like, there's worms for brains in the conservative mind. You said a month ago that he was going to fucking kill people. Like, let people beat their wives. And now how do you take these people seriously, man? How can you take these? The only guy to be taken seriously here is PBD, the circus wrangler. These guys are ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
The taxes. He says, raise the corporate tax. And he goes, she said no. And this is him, quote, the most important fact is that we fund it, not the question of how we do it. Yeah. That's his actual words out of his mouth. Oh, we don't. So New York, congratulations, you got played.
Details.
Details. Yeah, exactly.
PBD, do you think this is a good move for Trump to meet with him? Because I actually think it's a bad move. I think, number one, he's not going to change Mamdani's stance.
Why is it a bad move, Adam? Adam, you said that he was an Islamist. Is it because he's going to pull out a sword and cut Trump's head off? Is that why? Or is it because he's going to wear a suicide vest? Dude, these guys, does no one hold them accountable for the shit they said? This was the most radical person on this guy. How can you, with a straight face, shameless, be this way? And PBD here is going to give the best response ever.
Mamdani's certainly not going to change Trump. But what it does do, here's my critique. It's going to legitimize and give this guy Mamdani a photo op with the leader of the free world.
It's going to legitimize the guy who ran and won for mayor.
Oh, I get it. You're retarded.
Obviously, it's a heel. We're watching reality TV and all that. But, dude, they could write this better.
Saying yes.
Listen,
let
me tell you.
It's kind of like when the Syrian president came in, al-Shara, legitimizing these people.
Say whatever you want to say. The guy won. Okay, you can say what.
Thank you, PBD. That's why we do PBD Watch, because PBD is a genius. I mean, he may be stupid in some ways, but he's a genius grifter. He's a genius fucking talker. And what he says is true, and that was Trump's philosophy, I assume, because these guys seem like they're buddies. He fucking won. So what are you talking about legitimizing? By the way, this is why Stalin hated like democratic socialists and social democrats. Because I'm not saying whether this is right or wrong. I'm just going to give you the Stalinist position here. Is that if Mamdani meets with Trump, then that means that he's no longer opposing Trump. He's not opposing capitalism. Meaning that he could be a social fascist as described by Stalin. I'm not saying I agree with that position. I'm just saying that this is the meta-narrative that I haven't seen the left point out. But that is what Stalin would say about this guy, okay?
Whatever you want to say. He beat Adams, Sliwa, and Cuomo. Yep. He won. So I don't care what anybody wants to make fun, because then what is the differentiation between us saying, well, legitimate President Trump is not a legitimate president? No, this guy won the mayor, and he got the votes. And he did in the biggest city in America. So guess what? Trump, deep down inside, if you notice one thing about him, he respects winners.
Yep.
And Mamdani won. Doesn't mean he agrees with them.
And
so for me, I think it's a good move that he's doing it, because the way it's going to be is the following. Here's what I think is probably going to end up happening. And Scott, I want to get your commentary on this because you're more connected to this than I am. I think Trump's going to meet with them, show New Yorkers, hey, I'm even getting to the point of wanting to meet with a guy like this, just so you see that New York matters to me. Then Trump is brilliant. If he ends up later on saying that he's funding something, or is building a bridge, or he's doing something, the only way he brokers that deal is by getting Mamdani to thank him. Mm-hmm. It's going to be thanking him. Then when he thanks him, right now, a Siena poll came out yesterday talking about the fact that Hochul is ahead against Stefanik by 20 points. Even though Lee Zeldin only lost by 5.7%, Siena poll, which, depending on how much credibility you give to them, 20 points ahead of Stefanik. So I think the way Trump's going to handle this could be the reason whether Stefanik ends up, or a Republican person ends up winning the governorship in New York or not.
I don't know if that's true. The first part of his analysis is why it was worth watching. Because all he says is that Trump just wants to thank you. And I think that's completely accurate. That he just wants to thank you. Thank you for helping us fight for affordability together. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And that's about it. So I guess Patrick Bet-David got it right before the meeting, because this was before the meeting. He did get that part right. I think that he just wanted Mamdani to be deferential and be like, all right, dude, let's work together. And that's why we watch PBD, because this came out before. And I tell you that this guy is an insider and has the master grifter gene. And because he has the master grifter gene, he can see the future just like Piers Morgan and Dick Cheney could.
Trump is playing strategy, in my opinion, and I think he's making a right move. My opinion, Scott.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think his interest in New York City and New York City politics is deep. I mean, he's the president of the United States. He sort of lives in Florida now, but he's a New York guy. I mean, this is his hometown. He has definite opinions about the way the city ought to be run and what's going on there and the things he's done there. So I'm not shocked that he's meeting with him, and I tend to think it's a good move. New York does need the feds. They do need Trump, and he's going to force Mamdani to admit that ultimately.
Oh, he will.
He will force him to admit it.
Either Mamdani's ego is going to get in the way, or he's going to get him to say, hey, you know, you have to give respect to the president. Without the President Trump, this would have never happened. The funding of XYZ. Wait for that in the next
And
month.
Mamdani is,
if he does it.
He's a talented actor, but he has no real political experience. Trump, now he's tangling with the bear.
It's the big boy.
now we're in the big.
Dude, he even looks like. Did anyone here watch Roots, the original Roots? You watch. I don't know. Well, he's white, right? I can say it. Like, he looks like a house slave in Roots. He looks like Massa Turner. I love CNN. I loves it. CNN's the best. He looks, dude. Am I being too mean? What's your name, Scott? Toby! Like, they had to break him like Kunta Kinte or something. What a pathetic. All right, that we watched it for PBD because wow. You want to keep your foot or your balls? Dude, if you didn't watch the original Roots, man, you got to watch it. It's such a good fucking movie, a TV show. It's really good. I didn't even watch the remake because the first one was so good. Let's catch up with the chat. And everything says that BB pulls up, Zohran isn't going to do anything at this point. He'll probably meet up with him. I agree that he can't do anything, man. I'm sure that's what Trump straightened him out for. They asked him about it in the press conference. We'll see. But I'm sure he told them, like, hey, dude, if you try to do this, I'm going to pull all your funding because that would be a breach of American law. We don't abide by international law. And if you do that, I'm going to destroy your city. Schofield, how you doing? Horseshoe theory, extreme left and right have more similar than censor. I don't like to use the left-right paradigm, sir, because I think that gives liberalism a huge advantage. And I don't think it's creative enough in a lot of ways. I mean, dude, it's from the French Revolution. You know, it's not even real. It's not even real. But yes, I think that the extremes are more aligned than people would otherwise say. Ari says, Scott Jennings wants to run for Senate. He wants to replace Mitch McConnell and says only McConnell resigns first. As a house slave would. Mr. McConnell, only if you resign will I challenge you. Just insane, dude. Everything says, I think Bolivia would be a better choice. And I see you're saying because Mas fell apart, like that would be a good for Republicans to use. But you know what? I hate everything. I think you're completely right. But what happens is that I'm sure these people, and I don't mean to sound like a liberal, they can't find Bolivia on a fucking map. They don't know who Evo Morales is. They only know about Venezuela. Venezuela has been a socialist country for 26 years now. Well, not really, like 24 years. They only started talking about it now. So these people have worms for brains. The conservative is just a lower than scum, bro. Lower than scum. Body Dolindo says, this is so funny. How you doing, Body Dolindo? Ari says, listen, Mamdani doesn't even need Hochul. If Hochul doesn't raise taxes, Mamdani can raise property taxes for wealthier neighborhoods and for big luxury buildings. Hey, but Ari, it's good to have both, right? If you can have both, why not? Effer says, one thing that MTG said today, that they want to push for division, I think the people are figuring it out. They fear if AF, Mamdani base, and a centrist got together, that's where the TYT types, this is where TYT types come in. That was a really good statement. We're going to watch it. The 10 minutes. It was worth watching. All right, let's see. Buddy Dolindo says, these guys are all ninnies, like hysterical woman. It is the hysterical woman podcast. It really is. It's hysterical. But PBD knows this. Like, he put them together for a reason. You know, he's like, let me find the most hysterical woman possible. Stefanik is not a serious candidate, says I hate everything. I have not followed it, but I'll look into it. And Trump undercut him, says Buddy. It says Mr. Elu. Jose says, Trump mentioned how heads of state visiting the White House haven't drawn the same kind of crowds. Yeah, we're going to see that. We're going to see that. All right. We have to move on, guys, because now we have to get to the 30-minute meeting. So that's all we have for PBD Watch today. We don't have any Peers Watch today. There was no alpha there.
Feel free to push back. I'm comfortable with it. And then there's the lions that live in the jungle who have to go get their own meat. I'll give you an idea. And you refuse to hunt. You email me, I won't respond. You DM me, I will not respond. Not on LinkedIn, not on Twitter.
Dropping the N-word.
All right, so let's move on to the actual meeting, huh? Because we got to watch this, and then we have to watch the reaction. Because the reaction, dude, from the left and the right, I for some reason, YouTube only gives me Fox Business and Fox. But my producer, thankfully, his YouTube gives him MSNBC and CNN. So he sent me the MSNBC reaction, which is pretty wild because this whole meeting drove everyone nuts. So let's watch it. There's some powerful sorcery here, okay? This is... Get your wizard hats on. There's a lot of good sorcery in this. Let's watch. Off the bat, because people were speculating, the mayor has to stand. This isn't like some humiliation ritual. He has to stand. And there's really no smile. It's a Mona Lisa smile. It's like, you know, everyone looks chill. Everyone looks calm. In America, you'd expect the red tie on Trump because of his brand, but also because of the Republicans. However, I do think the light blue tie on Mamdani is pretty interesting because this is a bully pulpit moment for him in a lot of ways. This is the light blue tie. That's what Democrats use when they want to appear nice. Bill Clinton wore all these people, and he's here wearing it next to the president. How does this not put him in the position where he is perceived as actually being in charge of the Democratic Party? You have to think about this sorcery, dude. You have to think about it. You think this is random? And the Casio watch and rings. I've never been a fan of the rings. And he had showed up in a Patek Philippe. I think he would have impressed Trump, but maybe Trump sees it as cute.
Well, thank you very much. We've just had a great meeting, a really good, very productive meeting. We have one thing in common. We want this city of ours that we love to do very well. And I wanted to congratulate the mayor. He really ran an incredible race against, a lot of smart people, starting with the early primaries against some very tough people, very smart people. And he beat them easily. And I congratulated him. And we talked about some things in very strong common, like housing and getting housing built and food and prices, and the price of oil is coming way down. Anything I do is going to be good for New York. If I can get prices down, it's good for New York. And we've got them down, way down from last year. We have, as you know, I've been saying to a lot of people, Walmart said that Thanksgiving this year is exactly 25% less than last year. So that's good for New York, good for everybody.
This reveals that, because they're going to repeatedly say it throughout this thing, but the fact that Trump opens with a monologue about affordability, it means that he has the zids, but in a good way, where he has really been able to build a bridge with Trump and say, hey, this is what we actually align with. Who gives a shit about the other stuff? Let's make stuff cheap. Let's make stuff work. It's kind of like what Ezra Klein wants to do, but not retarded. So it's pretty interesting to see where they actually built a bridge here. If Trump is on his own saying this to start off, he's not starting off, well, he's a Muslim terrorist, hates Netanyahu, blah, blah. He's starting off with affordability. So he was infected with the zids in a positive way, dude. I want to visit New York soon, dude, when he's in office, because I think they're going to build a lot of cool shit. I actually think they're going to be able to borrow a lot of money. Or maybe it'll be a gift, who even knows, to build some stuff. You'll probably be broke in the long run, but it's probably cool for now. Because that's what happens when cities get a lot of money. They build all sorts of cool shit.
But I just want to congratulate. I think you're going to have hopefully a really great mayor. The better he does, the happier I am. I will say there's no difference in party. There's no difference in anything. And we're going to be helping him to make everybody's dream come true, having a strong and very safe New York. And congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Please.
I appreciated the meeting with the president, and as he said, it was a productive meeting focused on a place of shared advocacy.
All right, he's asking about the Discord. I think it's called King Leod, Arya. I think so. If you join, I'll let you know. I can send a message. I'm not good at Discord. I'm only learning it now.
Admiration and love, which is New York City, and the need to deliver affordability to New Yorkers, the 8.5 million people who call our city their home, who are struggling to afford life in the most expensive city in the United States of America. We spoke about rent, we spoke about groceries, we spoke about utilities, we spoke about the different ways in which people are being pushed out, and I appreciated the time with.
What I like about this, too, is he's going to do this repeatedly. And at a certain point, you might get tired of it, where he keeps referring to New York and how important New York is. What's interesting is that the way he's behaving is kind of the way that an ambassador or an emissary would. This is not normal behavior. He's representing the city. If Mayor Suarez was there, this is my impression of Mayor Suarez here. Bro, President Trump, bro, I love Miami, but I love Washington, D.C., bro. Bro, we're going to... Dude, let's go to the Formula One race, bro. Look, me and Trump, we're going to UFC after this. That's what they would have done. But this is acting like an emissary. This is acting as someone who actually is representing the city, not in opposition, but to the president. So in some ways, it comes off as very presidential, which is a great thing to do for the bully pulpit, even though he can't run for president. But he could be the one in charge of the Democratic Party with this kind of tactic.
The president, I appreciated the conversation. I look forward to working together to deliver that affordability for New Yorkers.
Thank you very much. Any questions, please?
President Trump, Stephen Nelson from the New York Post. I've got a question for you and then also one for Mayor-elect.
Sure.
For you, you referred to Mr. Mamdani as a communist. Can you describe why you feel that way? And also, will you do anything to stop him from arresting?
And the press is just champing at the bit to tear him down. Tear down this relationship, this bro moment here. You call them a communist. Do you still think that? And every question is going to be in line with this. Most of them, actually. And the whole time they just deflect it. I think they must have really connected on the real estate front and on the lowering prices front.
Prime Minister Netanyahu, if he visits New York.
Well, we didn't discuss your second part of the question. And on your first part, I mean, he's got views a little out there, but who knows? I mean, we're going to see what works, or he's going to change also. We all change. I changed a lot. From when I first came to office. It's now quite a while ago. It's quite a while. My first term was great. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We're doing even better now. We're doing much better now than we did even the first term. And I can tell you some of my views have changed. And we had discussions on some things. I'm not going to discuss what they were, but that I feel very confident that he can do a very good job. I think he's going to...
Ironically, and I don't know if it's because Trump is from New York, but Trump, I don't know if you would categorize him as a conservative, but he's a conservative in the way that he is portrayed, right? He's a conservative. This is the first conservative I've seen in my life, and I don't know if it's because he's from New York, that has actually said, I know Full Hat's here, and Full Hat's like, get your prayer mat and stuff. The first conservative I've ever seen, when an election doesn't go someone's way, he doesn't go, you got what you voted for, I hope it goes to shit. This is a smart approach, man. I don't understand why a conservative would not, they wish for the worst to happen to other people. They wish the worst on them. And Trump here is the only conservative with a heart that I've seen. And I know that's odd to say, but here he's the only guy who has said, I don't want New York to become what were they saying? To become Saudi Arabia, Iran meets Venezuela, Cuba. I want it to actually do well. And hey, let's give him a shot. And it had to come from Trump. I guess Trump is the only one who doesn't want a city to be destroyed because they didn't get the election results they wanted. The only conservative of a heart, I guess.
I think he is going to surprise some conservative people, actually. And some very liberal people he won't surprise them because they already like him.
And Mr. Mamdani, it sounds like you had a productive discussion, but just days ago you referred to President Trump as a despot who betrayed the country. You said
I Hate Everything says, guys, please do what I Hate Everything's doing if we really want to read it. Donald Trump, don't talk smack about my little communist, right? It's kind of like the relationship that I often see portrayed about like Catholics and Orthodox. It's like, we can talk shit about each other, but you shut your mouth, any outsider, you know? It's very interesting, but he's not like his lapdog. It's a very interesting way of... They're kind of like equals. He's like a junior partner is the way that they're doing anything. This is the way that they're doing it.
His worst nightmare and accused him of having a fascist agenda. Are you planning to retract any of these remarks in order to improve your relationship?
I think both President Trump and I, we are very clear about our positions and our views, and what I really appreciate about the president is that the meeting that we had focused not on places of disagreement, which there are many, and also focused on the shared purpose that we have in serving New Yorkers. And frankly, that is something that could transform the lives of the 8.5
That was
remarks in order to improve your relationship.
I think both President Trump and I, we are very clear about our positions and our views, and what I really appreciate about the president is that the meeting that we had focused not on places of disagreement, which there are many, and also focused on the shared purpose that we have in serving New Yorkers. And frankly, that is something that could transform the lives of the 8.5 million people who are currently struggling under a cost of living crisis, with 1 in 4 living in poverty. And the meeting came back again and again to what it could look like to lift those New Yorkers out of struggle and start to deliver them a city that they could do more than just struggle to afford it, but actually start to live in it.
And I've been called much worse than a despot, so it's not that insulting. Maybe I think he'll change his mind after we get to working together. Yes, please.
And that's it. It's all water under the bridge, man. It's all water under the bridge. I'm surprised. I bet they didn't even address it. But Trump, I don't think he's totally dissatisfied with this outcome, man. Because Eric Adams was a mess, public perception-wise. It was a mess. Could you imagine Cuomo here? It would suck. Sliwa would be cool. Sliwa would be cool to see here. Because he might actually fight Trump. I don't agree with you. But the fact that they're like, as I Hate Everything said, don't talk shit about my little communist. He's a good one, all right? It's very endearing. Hey, man, don't take this as a lesson for Thanksgiving. All these people that want you arguing with your grandma. If Trump and Mamdani can put things aside, then why would you fight your grandma at the Thanksgiving dinner table?
Mr. President, Anthony Mashhad from MTG Lebanon.
Good.
I would like to ask you a question about the Middle East regarding you said that Hezbollah in Lebanon is not in a good position. And Lebanon now is the final unresolved after Gaza and Syria. Given your assessment, like what do you say for the Lebanese today? It's the independent state in Lebanon. And what is your next move to push toward disarmament?
Sure. Well, we are pushing for total disarmament of Hamas and, frankly, everybody else. And we actually have peace in the Middle East. As you know, the King of Saudi Arabia just left yesterday. We had some great meetings, and he's made a contribution toward the United States of more than $1 trillion. We have now over 20 trillion.
This happens a couple times, like 3 times. I don't know why these reporters are wasting questions when everything on their minds. This is why reporters, journalists. I told you there's 3 people you shouldn't trust, some fruit picker wisdom. Journalists, lawyers, and cops. Journalists, dude, these people have nothing in their heads. It's just worms for brains. Why are you asking about foreign policy in Lebanon when everyone here is waiting on this relationship? It's just stupid, man.
Dollars coming in. No country has ever had anything like that, not even close. If you go to 2 trillion or 1 trillion, it's a lot. We have 20 or 21 trillion dollars. I think that Hezbollah has been a problem in Lebanon, big problem. We're working with Lebanon. We're working with everybody in the Middle East. That's another thing I think we have in common. We want to see peace in the Middle East, and we actually have.
This is a great reframe by the sorcerer Donald Trump. Very good reframe. One of them wants to arrest Netanyahu. The other one wants to send him guns. What do they both want? Peace in the Middle East. We remove the actual method, but we do agree on this. Great reframe. Great reframe. Especially since Mamdani can't do shit about it anyway as president, as mayor of New York. So it's a great reframe.
Now, for the first time, peace in the Middle East after 3,000 years. And now we're going to refine it. And I think you're going to see some very positive things happen.
There is a potential to invite the Lebanese president
Oh, sure. Oh, I would do that, absolutely. And if the mayor would like to be here for that meeting, because I know he feels very strongly. I think you feel very...
I couldn't hear the question precisely. I still can't make it out. Did he say for Trump to invite Netanyahu and then Trump was like, Mamdani should come in on the meeting? Is that what he said? I couldn't... And there's nothing with subs that will say it. But if that's the case, he can't mean that. But it would be pretty funny to imagine that. Now we have the emissary of New York meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu and President Trump.
Very, very strongly about peace in the Middle East. I think
we desperately want it, and that's something that I shared with the president, that when I spoke to New Yorkers who had voted for the president last November on Hillside Avenue and Fordham Road, I asked them why. I heard again and again two major reasons. One was that they wanted an end to forever wars. They wanted an end to the taxpayer dollars we had funding violations of human rights, and they wanted to address the cost of living crisis.
Notice how, dude, in hypnosis, you know this, and in psychoanalysis too, he's literally using Trump's exact words, forever wars. Trump's been saying that for 8 years. Okay, Trump didn't come up with it. Trump says forever wars. That's what he likes to say. Using his own words back to him. People like when you use their own words back to them. Very smart way of saying it.
And I appreciated the chance to discuss both of those things.
He said a lot of my voters actually voted for him, and I'm okay with that.
That could be something they found speaking to each other too, was explaining the amount of crossover in voting. And it's very, dude, how could you be mad at someone? I can imagine it's like two armies fighting and they realize that on the other side of the army, it's their brothers or their cousins. You'd be like, this is kind of stupid, right? I mean, we're kind of the same people in some ways. I guess we were angry. So I don't know what magic Mamdani worked to be a fly on the wall there and what magic Trump worked, but these guys are completely getting like, and it's kind of my producer, the way he said it and why it's very damaging to the Trump base possibly is that this is the end of the kayfabe. The kayfabe before was he's a radical Muslim terrorist and he's a fascist that's kidnapping people off the streets. And when WWE ended, actually, it was because, not ended, it's still going, but the reason it died in terms of spirit and how it was watched nationally and everyone cared about it when World Wrestling Entertainment ended, or WWF, is because two wrestlers broke kayfabe in the street. And they were photographed and they were seen as, oh, they're buddies. So I guess it was all fake. You can think the same thing about the NBA now. The NBA is the same shit. NBA, like, who cares about which team you like? LeBron's going to play for all of them, whichever one wins. So this is the end of the kayfabe, and it could be damaging, I think, more to Trump's base than anyone, where it's like, so what was all this shit about a communist and jihad? And we're going to see what Fox News said after this.
I'll do that. I'll sign it. Give it to me. I'll sign it in a minute. That's pretty good.
Mr. President.
Yeah, please.
You threatened to send federal troops to New York City. You both have differences when it comes to ICE agents in New York City. Mr. Mamdani, you called ICE a rogue government entity. I wonder how you reconcile your differences on both of those issues.
Well, I think we're going to work them out, and I think that if we have known murderers and known drug dealers and some very bad people, you know, we want to get them out. And the mayor wants to have peace. We discussed this at great length, actually, maybe more than anything else. He wants to have a safe New York. Ultimately, a safe New York is going to be a great New York. If it's not safe, no matter how...
Another reframe by the sorcerer Trump. It's not about illegal immigration. It's not about ICE. It's about safety. That we can agree on. Safety. We're going to reframe it to safety. Is ICE going to be active? We'll work out the details later. What do we want? Do we want safety in New York? We want the great hypnotist, the great master, the great wizard. Dude, this guy's a genius. Like, he is able to find common ground. And maybe that was Mamdani. You don't know who said it because we weren't there in that meeting. If he was like, look, we want safety, we just don't want ICE. And Trump goes, you want safety? Excellent. We are going to agree on safety. The other stuff we'll talk about later. What an expert reframe. Twice now, a reframe here. Stuff you would think they want to kill each other on is completely different.
Well, we do with pricing and with anything else. We can talk about anything you want. If you don't have safe streets, it's not going to be a success. So we're going to work together. We're going to make sure that if there are horrible people there, we want to get them out. I think he wants to get them out maybe more than I do. So we'll work together. We discussed it at great length. Yes, please.
Yeah, two questions, if I may. One for you, Mr. President, from BBC in a second. But first of all, for the mayor-elect. You're both from different parts of the political spectrum. You're both populists, though. And I just wondered to what extent the president's campaign style, his techniques, his social media use inspired any part of your campaign.
Well, I actually told the president that, so much of the focus of our campaign has been on the cost of living crisis. And when we asked those New Yorkers who had voted for the president, when we saw an increase in his numbers in New York City, that came back to the same issue: cost of living, cost of living, cost of living. And they spoke about the cost of groceries, the cost of rent, the cost of Con Ed, the cost of childcare. And too often,
this point here about Con Ed is going to be very interesting.
Politicians are looking to lecture to New Yorkers what they should care about as opposed to listen. And when we spoke to those voters who voted for President Trump, we heard them speak about cost of living. We focused on that same cost of living, and that's where I am really looking forward to delivering for New Yorkers in partnership with the president on the affordability agenda.
And I think we have to work a little bit. We talked about Con Edison. We have to work a little.
I've never seen someone pull this with Trump. It's very good. He brought up a niche subject that Trump is going to know about, right? Con Edison. This is like FPL in Florida or Next Era Energy. And how these people are just ripping people off, just raising the amount they charge you for power, even if it's reduced. In part, it's Trump's fault for the data servers, right? For the servers that they're using for AI. But these guys, I've never seen a politician do this in my lifetime, I don't think. I guess Obama tried to shame some industries, but not like this, where they are both. Trump is coming in and saying, dude, the gas is cheaper, the petroleum is coming in cheaper. Why have you not lowered the prices for consumers yet? What sort of corporate mismanagement or greed is going on? And Mamdani's the one that brought up Con Ed. And if we have politicians going to bat for normal people now in terms of their actual utility bill, because these companies all live off the government anyway. Why would you not lower the price if I'm sending you cheap petroleum? It's a very cool thing to see. I don't think that you've ever seen that kind of, a lib would call it populism, but that's like very Teddy Roosevelt to say, hey, these companies, if you can make the company the enemy and have them lower the price, I mean, why not? Why not? Efra says, interesting. I did not think of it this way. Thank you, Efra. I appreciate that you appreciate the commentary.
A little bit in getting the prices because, we've gotten fuel prices way down, but it hasn't shown up in Con Edison. And we're going to have to talk to them.
We're going to have to talk to them. We together are going to come in with bats and meet with the CEO of Con Edison and make him lower the prices for consumers. Dude, if this works, then I want Ron DeSantis to go to Trump, and I want them to come in and beat fucking FPL's ass for fucking everyone up the ass for the past 4 years because they have not lowered the prices. If this is all it takes, you come in and get Trump frustrated at some people that they should be giving you an election win. You've lowered the price of petroleum. Why is that not reflected? You go after the companies. It's pretty cool.
If we're sending them fuel at a much lower price than it was a year ago, which is true, we have to get Con Edison to start lowering their rates.
Absolutely.
And if I may, last week you told me you were pushing ahead with your plans to sue BBC for up to 5.
All right, and they're talking about Keir Starmer. I don't care about the Keir Starmer part. Sorry I haven't been catching up with the chats, guys. I see a lot of new people here. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It takes half a second. Subscribing is free, and it helps the channel grow. All right. Yes, we're gonna get to MTG. How you doing, Street Cat Munchies?
And the minority leader, Hakeem Jeffries, despite his endorsement of you. What's your reaction to that?
I have to be honest with you, I focused very little on resolutions. Frankly, I've been focusing...
Socialism.
I understand. I think the focus is on the work at hand. I can tell you I am someone who is a democratic socialist. I've been very open about that. And I know there might be differences about ideology, but the place of agreement is the work that needs to be done to make New York City affordable. That's what I look forward to.
This is very cool, not cucking on the label. I'm not cucking on the DSA stuff, dude. I'm going to say that I'm part of it. But that's just a label. Now we're trying to do business. Now we're trying to actually solve things. And this is the American way in a lot of ways, man. When it comes to green, it doesn't matter what your ideology is, what your color is, what your creed is. Who cares what Hakeem Jeffries participated in condemning socialism? Dude, if you elect a communist in West Virginia, do you want the people there to continue to get hooked on opioids? No, you want them to stop it. Who cares if it's a communist or whatever? Let him call himself what he wants. But it also shows some character to say, I'm not going to back down from this label. I don't give a shit. If you want to be mad at me, you be mad at me. And it is a huge indictment on the Democrats. It makes the Democrats look weak. This is the most presidential I've seen the guy. Obviously, he can't be president. But this is like a real party leader, like someone who is going to step up. I mean, Pelosi's resigning. This is a huge vacuum open.
I want to clarify your answer to Stephen Nelson. He asked about your comment calling the president a fascist. And your answer was, both President Trump and I have been clear about our positions and our views. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay. It's easier. It's easier than explaining.
And here you see the end. At the end of the day, who cares what you called each other? I don't care anymore. Now it's a different conversation. And they're disabusing this notion with humor, not letting him get a hard time from the journalists. Journalists, dude, all they do is come in and try to fuck up your shit. They're just broing out. They're just trying to think of how to screw over the electric company and build affordable housing. And these journalists come in to try to mess that up. And it's because the reality's been broken. That's a Fox News reporter, we're going to see her afterwards, that asked that question. And she's sitting there like, but Daddy Trump, you told me that he was evil. I don't think for myself, so now I don't understand what's going on. And so you want us to spell it out for you? That it was kayfabe? Are you fucking retarded? You're just here to mess stuff up while we're telling you the policies we're going to pursue together?
I don't mind.
And Mr. President, I wanted to ask you also about this Ukraine plan.
Yeah.
President Zelensky said today that his country would risk either giving up a partner or giving up its dignity.
Efra says, but why is the media pushing for division? It seems this way. Are they working for the billionaires? I think in a lot of ways, the best way of running society is to make everyone schizophrenic, and that's what they're pushing. Because there's no other explanation for this stuff. At this point, do the billionaires want that? Probably, maybe. It'll keep you at home. It'll make you agoraphobic. You'll be plugged in on the VR goggles with the heroin dripping in through, and you're not even going to care. Will it make you less likely to have children? Yes. And there's like a lot of people would say that there's too many people in the country that are of that class. I don't know if it's the billionaires. I don't know who it actually is. The bankers, the billionaires, Hollywood. It doesn't really matter though, Efra, I don't think. But yeah, the division that's being pushed, I think the outcome that they're searching for, that they're trying to socially engineer, is schizophrenia. And you've noticed it. I think everyone's noticed that people are off their rocker. They're going crazy. So that's not healthy. I see Robert's here. How you doing, Robert? And everything says, come on, say the N-word. Yeah. Peers level.
There's been criticism that this deal...
You mean he doesn't like it?
It's unclear. He was sort of
Well,
pretending...
he'll have to like it. And if he doesn't like it, then, they should just keep fighting, I guess,
The suggestion that you made, though, was that if he doesn't accept it, that the U.S. would pull back its support for Ukraine. Is that
Well, at some point he's going to have to accept something. He hasn't accepted. You remember right in the Oval Office not so long ago, I said, you don't have the cards. Don't forget, I inherited this war. This war never would have happened. I inherited this war. And I thought he should have made a deal a year ago, 2 years ago. The ultimate deal would have been if it never started. That would have been the good deal. That could have been done too.
Do you see Democrat policy specifically as being a problem? And I'd like that to be a question that both of you could answer.
This is a very important answer here because he's going to basically condemn, crucify, destroy the Democratic policies that have led to the destruction of a lot of these major cities. If that's how you want to put the narrative, that's how the journalist is asking. And any Democrat who's willing to take a torch to the past, these disgusting, terrible laws that have not worked. I'm not saying Republicans have done any better, but I'm just saying anyone who will actually be able to burn the past, it merits, in a lot of ways, if you can admit your own faults. In politics, that's usually a bad thing, but if you're an outsider, you're a newcomer, why not condemn the old guard? You can become the new vanguard. And he actually does do it in a very subtle way.
Look, I think that there are many things in our city where we have to own the responsibility of it, things that existed long before the president was the president. And those are also part of the message of our campaign, was to take on a broken politics of the past. And I ran against a number of candidates who represented different versions of that past. And what we found time and again is that working people were left behind in the politics of our city. And what we're looking to do is put those people right back at the heart of our politics, so that we don't have a situation where we're in the wealthiest city in the history of the world, and yet 1 in 5 can't even afford $2.90 for a Metro card.
He literally just said that Democrats failed you. He left out de Blasio and Adams, because he's saying before Trump was president. I'm sure it's because he's a de Blasio fan. He likes de Blasio. And he's saying, we have not delivered. It has been a shitty... I mean, Zohran is in his 30s, so he lived through Giuliani, but also Bloomberg. And he's going, these were shitty policies by shitty Democrats. He's not even throwing in the Republicans, because the question was about Democrats. And we are going to get rid of this politics of the past. I wonder which think tank, he's a creative guy, but who said politics of the past? That's a very good way of putting it, because it has that alliteration, politics of the past. And it ends strong, and it starts strong with that T and the P. Politics of the past. You're going to hear that a lot more. Notice those words, dude. Those are spells that they're casting when they say them.
You know, we had some interesting conversation, and some of his ideas really are the same ideas that I have. But a big thing on cost, you know, the new word is affordability. Another word is just groceries. You know, it's sort of an old-fashioned word, but it's very accurate. And they're coming down high. They were, you know, we had, both of us, we had the highest inflation in the history of our country the last 4 years under the Biden administration, and we've got inflation down now to a normal.
All right, I don't think Bloomberg gets the Republican label, though. I understand that he won as a Republican, but especially after that disgusting self-funded campaign, I think Bloomberg is established pretty much as a Democrat, right? Like Schultz, the Starbucks CEO. Like we could get into the technicalities here, but in a lot of ways, and I think Bloomberg exemplifies that old Democratic policy. I know what you mean, but I think Bloomberg counts as a Democrat, you know? I think that last campaign solidified him as a Democrat, that presidential campaign, which was just terrible.
Number, it's going to go even a little bit lower than that. Katie, do you have something in it?
Mr. President, thank you so much. Mr. Mamdani often talks about New York City being covered by international law, that they will follow international law. He doesn't often talk about the U.S. Constitution. What is your response to that?
Well, I don't know what you're referring to in terms of it could be covered by international law, local law. It's covered by a lot of laws, but it's covered by U.S. law. Are you referring to anything in particular?
He just says that they're a city that endorses.
This response is going to be great here. Because I don't know if Trump doesn't know what international law is. He has to know. The way he's behaving, he doesn't know with the votes out Venezuela. But either he doesn't know or he's just trying to dispel with this whole thing and just move it aside of who cares about what he said on the campaign trail. Because this is a very funny response we're going to see here.
Versus and enforces international law. Is that at odds with?
No, I don't know. Would you want to respond?
Yeah, I think what I've shared with the president is our desire to not only follow the laws of our own city, laws that protect New Yorkers, but also a desire for consistency in our politics across the board. And that's something that we've talked about and something that I know many New Yorkers want.
So you were with ICE? We were with ICE then?
We discussed ICE and New York City, and I spoke about how the laws that we have in New York City allow for New York City government to speak to the federal administration for about 170 serious crimes. The concerns that many New Yorkers have are around the enforcement of immigration laws on New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs, and most recently we're talking about a mother and her 2 children, how this has very little to do with what that is.
What we did is we discussed crime. More than ICE per se, we discussed crime. And
Great reframe. As I said, third one, it's still on the same theme. Crime. It's about crime. It's not about ICE. Throw in an R and an M. That's what we talked about, not ICE.
He doesn't want to see crime, and I don't want to see crime. And I have very little doubt that we're not going to get along on that issue. He wants to, and he said some things that were very interesting as to housing construction, and he wants to see houses go up. He wants to see a lot of houses created.
This is very good. Mamdani played to Trump's real estate developer like. I mean, Trump, you have to think of Trump as a guy who could have been a lot richer than he was when he got into office if he had simply, I don't know, put his money in this fucking stock market. He had $1 billion after 2008. If he had put it in tech stocks, he would have been one of the richest people in the world. But he just kept building, which kept him poor relative to other billionaires. Because he likes building. So it's good to appeal to that. It's a very, very smart strategy.
A lot of apartments built, etc. And, you know, we actually, people would be shocked. But I want to see the same thing.
Mr. Lombardi, anti-Israel protesters.
Jack?
Mr. President, I wanted to know one of the policies as well that Mayor-elect Mamdani talked a number of times about on the campaign was shifting the tax burden for property taxes from what he called minority communities to white-based communities and putting more taxes on white people. I also noticed that
Efra is concerned that the media and Trump are not acting normal. I'm not surprised to see Trump act this way, Efra. But the media, I think the media, these journalists, because as I said, journalists are probably like I can't say 80 IQ, but journalists are all midwit retards. Journalists are not smart people. There are exceptions, of course. There's some great journalists out there. Seymour Hersh is a very good journalist. There's people that are smart that went into it. But your average journalist, because I've met them, they're so stupid. And here it's going to be right-wing slanted. And the reason they're acting so off is because Trump just broke their whole last 6 months. Imagine you're the New York Post and you're publishing every day how this guy and his dad are going to put bombs at the new World Trade Center. I mean, that's essentially what they're saying. How he's friends with the unindicted co-conspirator. And then suddenly your president, your cult leader comes out and he's like, he's all right. He's a cool guy. I don't mind him. That would lead to a lot of strange behavior out of the journalists. It's not good when your matrix is broken.
in your acceptance speech you didn't mention anything about America or Christians or white people in general, and so I didn't know if that was one of the policies that you guys had spoken about.
We focused on affordability. We focused on the cost of living crisis. What I will say is that I am very much interested in property tax reform, because what we see right now in New York City is a system that is so inequitable that it can't even stand up in court. And the president and I spoke about the importance of not only building more housing, but also making sure that regulation of housing is something that is manageable to actually get through and not the cause of yet another weight that we see in our
city. To be clear, you're continuing this idea of race-based property taxes.
No, to be very clear,
that's what you said.
No, the use of the term was a description of neighborhoods, not a description of intent.
So you intend to tax the whiter neighborhoods more?
No, we intend to create a fair property tax system because we want a New York City that is not only fair and equitable.
Look at him. He's just letting him. He's like, this guy knows how to get out of this. I'm going to let him cook. I don't know what this smile is. I don't know if he's smiling at the actual journalist. There was no other angle to be like, yeah, he's my communist. Why don't you shut the fuck up? But he handles himself well. I always thought that was a stupid way of putting it, the way Mamdani put it on his website. But he got his way out of it.
But also one that every New Yorker can afford.
Please, God.
Mr. Mamdani, anti-Israel protesters just targeted a synagogue in New York. Are you concerned about Jewish New Yorkers feeling welcome and safe in the city? And President Trump, you threatened to cut off federal funding to New York City. What policies would prompt you to do that? Would that be city-run grocery stores? Would it be something else?
Well, I think if we didn't get along, whether it's cut off or just make it
yes, Will says Trump is admiring Mamdani's weave skills. It's called the weave. It's called the weave. Yeah, dude. Someone else I saw there said that it's two New Yorkers talking to each other, right? So it's they're gonna have some connection, and I'm sure both of these guys have that hustler background. So, real recognize real.
A little bit difficult, or not give as much. We want to see. I use the term. We don't want good money going after bad, and we don't want that to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I did say that, subject to what policies are being set. We had a meeting today that actually surprised me. He wants to see no crime. He wants to see housing being built. He wants to see rents coming down, all things that I agree with. Now, we may disagree how we get there. The rent coming down, I think one of the things I really gleaned very, very much today, he'd like to see him come down, ideally, by building a lot of additional housing. Yeah. That's the ultimate way. He agrees with that. And
I wonder what scam the Trump family is going to do with this affordable housing. They're going to send their people to build that affordable housing. And Mamdani's going to have to let it happen. At least the houses will be built. But someone's going to get rich off those houses. And it's probably going to be Trump's friends.
So do I. But if I read the newspapers and the stories, I don't hear that. But I heard him say it today, and I think that's a very positive step. No, I don't expect. I expect to be helping him, not hurting him. A big help, because I want New York City to be great. Look, I love New York City. It's where I come from. I spent a lot of years there. Now I'm right here. We took a big setback with the mayor that we had, Dave de Blasio. I thought it was a tremendous setback for the city. I think this mayor can do some things that are going to be really great.
Mr. President, Mr. President.
Yeah, okay, how about you? Go ahead, please.
You're a billionaire. You have a different address nowadays than you used to, but you used to call New York City home.
This part's great here. I'm telling you, Trump won today, man. He's literally Walter White today, dude. This is Trump.
I won.
He got rid of MTG, and he just brought in the Zohran coalition. Like, look at the answer to this question. He has fully embraced this guy. It's getting rid of your enemies and making new friends. What better day could it have been for Trump?
Would you feel comfortable living in New York City under a Mamdani administration?
Yeah, I would. I really would. Especially after the meeting. Absolutely.
What makes you comfortable?
We agree on a lot more than I would have thought. I think I want him to do a great job, and we'll help him do a great job. You know, he may have different views, but in many ways, you know, we were discussing when Bernie Sanders was out of the race, I picked up a lot of his votes, and people had no idea, because he was strong on not getting ripped off in trade and lots of the things that I've practiced and been very successful on. Tariffs, a lot of things. Bernie Sanders and I agreed on much more than people thought. And when he was put out of the race, I think quite unfairly, if you want to know the truth, many of the Bernie Sanders voters voted for me. And I felt very comfortable, frankly, in seeing that and saying that. And, you know, it just turned out to be a statistical truth. But
so I guess it's MAGA plus the DSA versus MIGA, to put it in Piers Morgan terms now. Because if he's saying that the Bernie people, he's still defending Bernie. If he brought up Seth Rich, but he would never do that. That would be interesting to see, you know. Everyone forgot about Seth Rich, man. Poor guy. Rest in peace. I won't get into that. All right. Please don't get into Seth Rich in the chat with too much detail. Okay. Yesterday's fucking attack on the stream was, I don't know if the comments caused it, guys, but it was very infuriating. So please be careful talking about Seth Rich in the chat. But this is basically a MAGA opening, an overture to the DSA types. And it's going to be an interesting coalition if the president is explicitly endorsing it. He's like, whatever, dude. I like these Bernie people. They voted for me. Who gives a shit?
no, I feel very comfortable. I would feel very, very comfortable being in New York, and I think much more so after the meeting. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a question for you, but a very quick one for the mayor. Why did you fly here? Aren't trains greener?
I'll use every form of transit, and I want to make sure that they're all affordable in New York City, and that's why making buses fast and free is a centerpiece of our campaign.
There is a bus that goes.
Well, but I know, but it'd be fluid. That's a lot quicker too. You know, I mean, he's working very hard. For him to be, that's a very long drive. I'll stick up for you. You know, the plane takes you 30 minutes, and driving takes you a
And
long
Mr.
time.
President, I was wondering if you could clear up some confusion around a Washington Post report. There was this explosive report that the Coast Guard is no longer going to characterize swastikas as
committing genocide in Gaza while President Trump will Mamdani. You've accused the U.S. government of committing genocide in Gaza while President Trump was working on peace. Why that?
I've spoken about the Israeli government committing genocide, and I've spoken about our government funding it. And I shared with the president in our meeting about the concern that many New Yorkers have of wanting their tax dollars to go towards the benefit of...
I'm glad I hit everything says there. I mean, flying is just common sense. Dude, these reporters have worms for brains. They're retarded. I'm sure that was supposed to be... I know the face. It was like this smug face of like, why didn't you fly here? Every third grade teacher that you had that was retarded is what a reporter is, dude. They might as well fucking go teach fucking third graders because of how stupid they are. Now here, what's interesting is that I think this is the first time since October 7th. We're not going to talk about that country explicitly, okay? That I'm seeing the the G word dropped, genocide, in the Oval Office. And Trump's not beating his ass or telling him, hey, don't say that. So the reaction over the weekend, I know that it's the Sabbath, right? But I wonder how this is going to play over there. Because that's, I don't know, if you're cynical, you'll see this as a pressure release valve. And that the left is being used, and the left is, being given this talisman and Mamdani to be like, oh yeah, I'm in their ear, I'm telling them how it's a genocide over there. If you're not cynical, you might say, hey, he's actually saying it, he's standing up for these people over there. But it's going to be interesting to see what the response is. If you see a statement from Tel Aviv that's like, hey, you have a mayor in there saying that we're doing something that we're not doing. That's going to be... Dude, this is a more important meeting than people thought, unless it's all even more kayfabe, but this does not strike me as that.
New Yorkers and their ability to afford basic dignity. And what we see right now is we're in the 9th consecutive year of more than 100,000 school children being homeless in our city. And there's a desperate need not only for the following of human rights, but also the following through on the promises we've made New Yorkers. And I appreciated the meeting we had and the work that we can do.
Do you agree that President Trump did do a peace and work hard to make the peace? Because he worked hard to do the peace in the Middle East and everywhere. Do you agree with that?
I appreciate all efforts towards peace, and I shared with President Trump that when I spoke to Trump voters on Hillside Avenue, including one of whom was a pharmacist that spoke about how President Trump's father actually went to that pharmacy not too far from Jamaica Estates, that people were tired of seeing our tax dollars fund endless wars. And I also believe that we have to follow through on the international human rights, and I know that still today those are being violated, and that continues to be work that has to be done no matter where we're speaking of.
Mr. President.
It's diplomatic, and Trump doesn't even push back. I'm sure what the attitude is, I'm not sure. Is it like, dude, he can't do anything about it anyway. Let him talk all his shit. I don't really care because he's not in charge of foreign policy. So I'm not even going to correct him. Who cares about whether he's right or wrong? Which is the correct attitude, by the way. Unless you're a master debater like Charlie Kirk, rest in peace. You know, I fucking hate the debate stuff, as I always say. If you just like, hey, he has no power to affect change on this, so let him talk his shit. I don't care. It's a smart strategy. Let him talk his shit. I don't give a fuck.
Thank you, Mr. President. Do you view the mayor-elect as the true leader of the Democrat Party? And do you think Leader Schumer and Leader Jeffries, have to follow his lead?
Well, look, I hope they have great leaders. This is a man that right now I think is focused on New York City. I really think he has a chance to do a great job. We're going to help him, but I really think he has a chance to do a great job. But I'll let you answer that. You consider yourself the leader of the Democrats? I think it's more appropriate for him.
And here you have a little revelation, which is, I see Efra's still confused. All right, let's be real. Let's be real here. Look at how Trump just positioned this, dude. Is he trying to use this to nuke the old guard of the Democratic Party and empower these guys?
You answer that. You consider yourself the leader of the Democrats? I think it's more appropriate for him.
Let him see how he handles that. That's very smart. I don't know if that's his intention. But he's putting it out there. And when you put it out there, it's already powerful in itself. Because implicitly, Trump is saying that there is no leader in the Democratic Party if someone can consider themselves as that. This is a cunning linguist, as Mr. Hughes says.
I consider myself the next mayor of New York City, and I keep my horizons firmly on New York City, and I appreciate the meeting with the president, which focused again on the 5 boroughs and whether New Yorkers could afford to live there.
By the way, being the mayor of New York City is a big deal.
Absolutely.
I always said, one of the things I would love to be someday is the mayor of New York City. Being the mayor of New York, and especially now, because I think you're at really a turning point, one way or the other. You could go great, or it can go in a different direction. And I think you really have a chance to make it great. I appreciate what you're saying.
Mr. President, you said you love New York City. Mr. Mamdani, does New York City love President Trump?
New York City loves a future that is affordable. And I can tell you that there were more New Yorkers who voted for President Trump in the most recent presidential election because of that focus on cost of living. And I'm looking forward to working together to deliver on that affordability agenda.
I got a lot of votes. One more.
Great reframes, man. I'm tired of counting. How many reframes do we have here? Stupid reporter question, immediately reframed as, look, some people that voted for Trump voted for me, but what we all agree on is that things have to be more affordable. I guess abundance was stupid, huh, Ezra Klein? I guess Reaganomics for liberals was a stupid word that didn't work, abundance. What a moron, dude. How does the New York Times hire these people? How does the New York Times hire Ezra Klein? A complete and total failure. Abundance, he pushed that and it was in the news for a week. Affordability, pushed here for a couple days and now it's a national conversation. Ridiculous.
Go ahead, one or two more, go ahead. I tell you, the press has eaten this thing up. You know, I've had a lot of meetings with the heads of major countries. Nobody cared. This meeting that you people have gone crazy. You know, outside you have hundreds of people waiting. This is just a small little group. For some reason, the press has found this to be a very interesting meeting. The biggest people in the world, they come over from countries.
And he's just building him up, man. That's why I see the cynical aspect of, see, Mr. Elu was saying that it's a Stalinist move to use this as a wedge to destroy the Democratic old guard, which Trump actually, I think he actually hates them. Previously, I would have said no, but he's trying to arrest these people. The James Comey case is falling apart because it's ridiculous, the way they did it. But if he's really just trying to destroy the old guard, I mean, this is the way of doing it, by just building him up.
Nobody cares, but they did care about this meeting, and it was a great meeting. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. President, I was going to ask you exactly that. Why do you think there's so much more, so much excitement around this than in some form?
Because I think he's different. All right, I think he's different, and that can be in a very positive way. But I think he's different than, your typical guy runs, wins, becomes mayor maybe, and nothing exciting. Because he has a chance to really do something great for New York. New York is at a very critical point. And he does need the help of the federal government to really succeed, and we're going to be helping him. But he's different than, your average candidate. Hey, he came out of nowhere. I said he has a great campaign manager standing over there. He came out of nowhere. What'd you start off at 1 or 2? And then I watched. I said, who is this guy? He was at 1, then he was at 3, then he was at 5, then he was at 9. Then he went up to 17. I said, that's getting a little bit interesting, right? And then all of a sudden he wins a primary that nobody expected he was going to win. It's a great tribute. I mean, it's an amazing thing that he did.
And I'll just add one thing to what the president said. Is one thing I also appreciated is in our meeting to appreciate a portrait of FDR and the incredible work that was done with the New Deal, and also in thinking about what it can look like when the federal government and New York City government work together to deliver on affordability. It can be transformative.
Dude, if you guys get in New York like some cool WPA type programs, some cool looking buildings, you look at the WPA buildings that are still standing and they're beautiful. This is going to be awesome. I might be tempted to move there for the next couple of years. If he's actually going to get a shit ton of federal money to make the city actually look really beautiful, and, crime is somewhat legal, the cops don't hassle you, and everything's open and there's artists everywhere, this might be a good time to go enjoy New York.
We have a great portrait of FDR that I found in the vaults that was missing for years. I found it and I put it up. He's a Democrat, to the best of my knowledge. He's a Democrat. And when the mayor saw that portrait, he said, "Sir, do you mind if I have a picture taken by that portrait?" It's an amazing portrait. I hope the picture comes out good. But it's an amazing portrait in the cabinet room. So he's a big fan of the New Deal, I guess, and of FDR. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. President. You said that you both spoke about crime.
Yeah.
There are many police officers set to come off the rolls at the end of this year in New York City. Are you going to allow those police to be replaced with police officers, actual cops? And are you going to require that happens? Would there be some consequences?
Well, I hope it happens, but again, that's going to be ultimately the mayor's decision.
What's your answer?
Is that I look forward to delivering public safety with the NYPD, and I've said over the course of our campaign that we have the number of police officers today. They are the ones that's budgeted about 35,000 headcount. And I think the key thing is that we have to make it easier for police to focus on police work, not ask them to respond to 200,000 mental health calls a year.
So is that a reduction from what you're asking?
Dude, this is a bad question. I see that Schofield came in on it. Yeah, this is a retarded question. This is stupid. But the only alpha out of this, dude, is if New York, they're going to be if he's actually going to crank down on the broken windows policing, which I guess they kind of have, but step it up in the other direction of stopping violent crime, might actually be the best solution. Imagine not having the Giuliani tier Oh, you're pissing in public. You're going to jail for 3 days, just wasting people's money. But you also don't have crime. I mean, this is going to be a very interesting time to be a New Yorker, man. If you're in New York, you're going to live through an interesting experiment. You know, there was the Soviet experiment. Now there's the New York Mamdani experiment.
Right now, are you committing to maintaining the same level of cops?
I've committed over the course of the campaign to maintain the 35,000. That's the head count that we had through the campaign.
And not replace them with caseworkers, social work?
No, I've said that's the head count that we want. What we need to do is make sure they can focus on serious crime.
And he just retained a great police commissioner, I believe, right?
Yes, we did. Commissioner Fish.
If the newspapers are correct.
That one they're correct about.
He retained, I think, somebody that is she's a good friend of some of the people in my family, of Ivanka, and they say she's really good, really competent, and he just retained her, so that's a good sign.
I thought that the Tish thing before was just because of the Lowe's company, like she's just an heiress that's bored. But if he has to keep her because Trump likes her, and it's a smart move too, you're going to have your billionaire princess police commissioner continue on. Sometimes you can't, you got to pick your battles.
Are there still topics that you see that you're disagreeing on in the future? And do you think you'll have more meetings like this?
There will be topics that we disagree on. I think we'll probably come to a conclusion, and ultimately he'll convince me or I'll convince him. You know, it's for the good of New York. Ultimately, it's for the good of New York. I don't care about affiliations or parties or anything else. I want to see if this city could be unbelievable, if he could be a spectacular success, I'd be very happy.
Do you think you guys will meet more in the future too?
Excuse me?
Do you think you'll meet again in the future, throughout the administration?
I think we will. Yeah. I think we will. I hope we do. I enjoyed the meeting. We had a great meeting. Please.
Mr. President, Republican Elise Stefanik has campaigned multiple times by calling Zohran Mamdani a jihadist. Do you think you're standing next to a jihadist?
Why would you ask this? Do you think you're standing next to a jihadist right now? You wouldn't be standing next to a jihadist. They would cut your head off. People use these words. I know the question could be ironic or trying to be funny or something. I hate the corruption of language. I guess language, I had some faith in it. I don't think people know what a jihadist is anymore, man. And I don't want them to be reminded of what it is, but it was a terrible period when there were actual jihadists out there. What a stupid fucking question, man.
Right now in the Oval Office?
No, I don't, but she's out there campaigning, and, you know, you say things sometimes in a campaign.
Isn't that sort of...
She's
admitting the kayfabe. Admitting the kayfabe.
a very capable person, but you really have to ask her.
Right, Mr. Elu's talking about Jelani. That's what I don't understand. Where was that question when Jelani was there? Where was the question?
About that, but I don't particularly. I think I met with I met with a man who's a very rational person. I met with a man who really wants to see New York be great again. And I can say again, because New York was great. You know, when I came down to Washington initially, the city was so hot. It was doing great. We were having some telltale signs of problems. We had a mayor that was not doing a great job, but still, it was moving along. And it went bad. It really went, you know, pretty bad. And he can, I think it's been at lower points, but it went pretty bad. I think he can bring it back. Now the question is, will he bring it back all the way? Will he bring it back greater than ever before, which is, I guarantee, that's his wish. I think he wants to make it greater than ever before. And if he can, we'll be out there cheering. I'll be cheering for him. Okay? Thank you very much, everybody.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. I would say catch up with the chance, guys, but I do want to, I think we're going to miss MTG, which pisses me off. Let's look here at the reactions. The reactions were very, very interesting. Here we go. Many left shocked. Let's look at Fox News first, and then we're going to go to MSNBC. So you can see how every cult member, anyone who's not an independent thinker, a true Baudrillardian menace, bro, had their realities broken, as Efra keeps saying.
To Jackie Heinrich, who's asking those great questions right in the Oval Office moments ago. She was in the room. Jackie, your impression of the get-together we all witnessed?
You know, it was a surprise to see those two getting along as well as they did. A couple of times I asked the mayor-elect a tougher question, and the president almost helped him dodge it. Take a listen to one of them. I want to ask the mayor-elect about a House resolution just passed overwhelmingly to condemn socialism, including with 86 Democrats. All of House Dem.
Look at how stupid. These people should be fucking cleaning streets, man, for no pay.
Leadership and the minority leader, Hakeem Jeffries, despite his endorsement of you. What's your reaction to that?
Look at that smug, stupid face. And this is why people's realities are broken, because if you're that smug, if you're that stupid, if you're that arrogant, when two real men get together, when you get some real hard men together, all right, then you don't understand. This stupid fucking question, man. I don't know how Fox News is going to explain this away, but I know they will, because conservatives will lap up any slop they serve up to them. I guess Mamdami's cool now.
That.
I have to be honest with you, I focused very little on resolutions. Frankly, I've been focusing...
Socialism.
I understand. I think the focus is on the work at hand. I can tell you I am someone who is a democratic socialist. I've been very open about that. And I know there might be differences about ideology, but the place of agreement is the work that needs to be done to make New York City affordable. That's what I look forward to.
Oh, it cut off a little bit early, but I followed up asking the president, or asking Mamdani, rather, to clarify an answer that he gave earlier where he seemed to...
Why is a journalist, as an aside, why is a journalist wearing this much eyeliner, mascara, and lip filler, and fucking lip gloss? I'm not shaming anyone. A journalist should be dressed in an old fucking suit, chain smoking cigarettes, and wearing a fedora. That's what if you're not doing that, then you're not a journalist, you're a fucking influencer. A journalist should be locked up in his home at a typewriter going crazy because he thinks they're going to kill him because he found something interesting. That's what this TikTokification of, they're not even trying. Is this just boomer? Like, oh yeah, cool, she's a pretty lady, I'm going to watch her talk because I can fantasize about her. Is that who they're hiring to be talking heads now? This is retarded. This is end of the line, folks. End of the line. You might as well hire Megan Fox or hire Mia Khalifa. Hire her naked. Hire her naked to give the news. What does the Fox News viewer want? Do they want just naked woman? Just open legs? A blonde lady with mascara? And today's news is that we might as well do it. Where is the decency? These people are, all right.
To confirm that he does believe President Trump is a fascist, and the president jumped in and said, you don't have to answer that, you can just say yes. There were substantive conversations, we are told, about crime and public safety and how the two sides can work together. The president said that regular folks would be surprised at how much they do agree on.
Journalists didn't use that filler word before. They were trained out of it. But now I guess they just hire these people straight out of TikTok University. And look at it, like, this is why people's reality are broken, the journalists here. Because if there's someone this stupid, someone so unpolished, someone who's just there to ask questions, who this woman probably believed that President Trump was completely serious and that Mamdani was going to show up to the White House wearing a thobe and a keffiyeh and carry a large knife in there and do some crazy shit. And a suicide jacket. Because this is insane. Only stupid people would believe that. Only stupid people like Vinny. I'm sure he's playing a character, right? But Vinny on PBD, Adam on PBD, like these characters, and then millions of people across the country watch these characters go, and they go, I guess they're right. I guess he wants to cut people's heads off. I guess he wants you to beat your wife. And then these journalists that are also those people are on TV, and they're just as shocked as they are when things work out, and they go, oh, I guess he wasn't a communist terrorist, because otherwise the FBI would have arrested him. We live in hell. We live in hell.
He expressed that the mayor-elect has some interesting ideas about housing and some other cost of living issues that maybe they could find some agreement toward. I asked, because crime and public safety kept coming up so many times, if that meant working together on ICE
and having ICE agents do the work that we are seeing in so many other cities. Zohran Mamdani had, obviously said that he does not believe that ICE should exist and have the role that it's having across the country. And he said in his answer that there are, I believe, 173 areas of serious crimes in which they will work together. So that was interesting. You also heard the mayor-elect affirm that he will keep the New York City police force 35,000 strong. And that was significant. And the president multiple times seemed to downplay the idea that maybe they would not be able to work together despite all of this fiery rhetoric on the campaign. You hear President Trump routinely call Mamdani a communist. You routinely hear Mamdani talk about how his administration is going to be a nightmare for the president. But there was not that tension in the room. They were clearly trying to find ways to move forward together. And President Trump also made clear that this is, about New York City, the city where he,
This is a toddler. Are you seeing? This is toddler. Get it out, sweetheart. What are you? And I'm not saying this because she's a woman. I called Scott Jennings a house slave today, so I get to be hard on the lady too, okay? They were hard on Joe Biden. What about these journalists, dude? Says affirm. You have worms in your brain. And Ephra said it here. Everyone is playing a character. The fools are the ones that believe their grift. Ephra, and the people who are playing these characters, I'm sure this journalist is one of these fools that believes the grift because the characters hire these people. They hire them because what is a better foot soldier than someone with worms for brains that can't even speak properly, but is a pretty face? Wait, I thought President Trump... And then their reality's broken, and then they go and they make everyone else schizophrenic. If you have full-on... mental cases as journalists.
Built his life and career, has a lot of love and affection for. He even said that one day, he longed to be the mayor of New York City. That's how much he loves that city. And so he's wishing Mamdani a lot of success. Brian.
Right. They start off on the right foot. Remember, they got along. Cuomo got along with the president, too, sometimes in the first term, and they blew up famously with each other, and they rallied together at the end. Jackie, great job. Great tough questions. You had two people trying to parry them at the same time, but I understand exactly what you were going for. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, it's Will.
It's pathetic. All right, and let's watch the MSNBC reaction so you can see that the right wing MAGA was going nuts. They were like, what's the truth here? I'm so confused. Someone please give me the new programming. I want the Now let's see, because I don't let anyone off easy. Let's see what MSNBC was saying.
I have never watched a public meeting, even with Putin, Trump didn't go on for as long, where he lavished that much praise, affection, and admiration on anyone.
So I have a theory.
Putin level. Zohran has achieved Putin status.
That some of what's happened is that Donald Trump sees how popular Zohran is, and he wants to get on that affordability train, right?
And dude, the left doesn't get away with this either. What is this hairstyle, dude? What are these glasses? What is this? This is humiliating for the viewer. The tone, dude. The journalism problem is bipartisan. It's everyone. These journalists, she's dressed nice. Morons.
Is that Donald Trump sees how popular Zohran is, and he wants to get on that affordability train, right? He sees his numbers. He knows inflation is plaguing him. I mean, maybe I'm ascribing too much sort of political acumen to him, but I just wonder, because when he was talking, he said, many Bernie Sanders voters voted for me. And then you had Zohran go back and say, they voted for him. A lot of people in New York City voted.
Look at Al Sharpton on his phone. These people don't. If you pay for cable, dude, you are paying for people that don't respect you. If he's on his phone, if you're on your phone when someone's talking, how do they feel? And you are paying money. Do not pay for cable. Do not watch this stuff, dude. These people do not respect you. Al Sharpton should know better. This is journalism in 2025, dude.
For him, yeah. And then he said more people voted for me. You know, I just wonder if I mean, look, obviously he really did clearly like him. And I think that it speaks to the talent, the raw political talent that Zohran has, that he can go in and sit there and just make this guy his greatest cheerleader. But I also wonder if he's trying to get on that, you know, he ran as a populist.
This is not thought out correctly. They don't know what they're talking about because, as I said, there's Zohran derangement syndrome, but there's also Trump derangement syndrome. They start off by saying that Trump is a lover of Putin. That's how we're framing the conversation. Whether he is or isn't, what does that have to do with this? It has nothing to do with it. These people have lost their minds because of Trump derangement syndrome, just like the Fox News people have lost their mind because of Zohran derangement syndrome. And they're sitting here and they're speculating. I don't know why. Blah, blah, blah. They're just coming up with it on the fly because they're not paid to think. They're paid to speak bullshit. But you can see the reality imploding. They're going, I don't understand. Trump is so evil. He's literally Hitler, and he's like such a bad guy. How could he like our guy that we like? It doesn't even make sense because these people they have a virus in their head that's been infected. These people. Anyway, this is all to say you can see on both sides what Efra was repeatedly saying, and it's true. The reason these people and everyone is so confused about this meeting is because people are waiting for their new programming, their new software, and I'm sure on Monday they'll have it, where MSNBC is going to come out with some COPE explanation, and Fox News will have some COPE explanation, and then they'll all start saying that over and over and over again. But on the fly, these people are miserable because they're not good at improv, they're not good at journalism, they're not good at research, they're not good at anything. If they were good at anything, they would not work for a corporate journalist fucking bullshit network. They would be doing something that matters. But these people are lower than scum. I'm telling you, if you ever trust a journalist with anything, you will be the one that is at fault for getting burned because you will be burned every time. I've lived it so many times, dude. There is not a good journalist out there except for very few exceptions like Seymour Hersh. Journalists are lower than scum, dude. These people will betray you. They'll stab you in the back. They don't care about you. They are bad people. Do not trust people. Do not trust journalists. Do not trust police. And do not trust lawyers. These people have nothing in their heads. They are fucking stupid.
Said he was going to make things cheaper.
We're ascribing to Trump like a multi-step process when all that we've ever witnessed is like a hunting dog's reflexes. Right. And I just think there was a winner in the Oval Office today who won something that Donald Trump just told us he'd always wanted. Donald Trump said, quote, "One of the things I would love to be is mayor of New York." And this is someone who won. Again, we'll quote Donald Trump today on this. He came out of nowhere. And Trump was obviously tracking his poll numbers. So Trump is endorsing Cuomo, is flipping Adams or whatever the hell he did with the Adams criminal bribery case at DOJ. And I wonder how all those lawyers feel about ruining their integrity to spring Adams when Trump was obviously in love with Mamdani the whole time. And he's tracking his polls. He says you were at 1 and then 4 and then 9. He's obviously been following his meteoric rise. And the guy is sitting there saying, you can call me a fascist or a despot. You just answer the question. I mean, I've never seen him sort of care for his children, his vice president, or his cabinet's credibility the way he seemed committed to honoring Mamdani's credibility.
Don't you think that maybe the fact that this guy is the mayor of the largest city in America, the largest financial capital in the world, don't you think that it would be best to put aside your differences and work together? Is that not the first thing that comes up? What is this woman, 50 years old? Does she think it's done? You should go to watch cartoons. Why don't you turn on Frozen or turn on Mickey Mouse? Huh? If you think that this is real, and they do this on purpose, man, I don't think she's playing a character. I think she's genuinely this stupid. Don't you think the world's a little bit more cynical than you've been described it as? That sometimes people have to come to conclusions in order to move along? These people should go back to watching, Tom and Jerry. Why don't you watch Tom and Jerry, MSNBC? Why don't you, everyone that works at MSNBC should watch Tom and Jerry and Fox News. Go watch Tom and Jerry. I'm sure you'll have a grand old time watching that cat chase around a mouse. Because you clearly have no idea what you're talking about, or you're just trying to drive people nuts. These people are stupid or evil, and it doesn't make a difference.
I've never seen him do that before. But Donald Trump is one that likes a political athlete.
Winner. Right.
And a winner. I mean,
And that's Al Sharpton at the end actually saying something insightful, which is true. All right, so we're over time, but fuck it, it's Friday. Let's get to MTG. I hate journalists, dude. I really don't like journalists. I really don't like them, man. So you'll have to excuse me. I've had bad experiences with journalists in my life. Journalists to me are very low on the totem pole. These are bad people. It's advice, man. I'm not saying it because of a bias. I'm telling you, you will get burned. I saw Ari asking about salesmen. A salesman, I've been in sales. If you're in sales, I can only screw you once. I can't screw you forever. A journalist will take any intimate detail that you have told them, anything in confidence. They'll say, well, you didn't say off the record. And they're going to use it to crucify you. A journalist will sell your mother to get a story. A journalist has no incentive. You know, in the early 20th century, journalists were looked at on the same level as prostitutes. And I'm pro prostitution. So I don't see them as I don't see prostitutes as scum, but journalists are. All right, whatever, dude. Maybe it's my third world Latino spick brain that wants to like run the country or something. I'm like, oh, yeah, you gotta get rid of these journalists. How did Stalin handle journalists, huh? All right, let's see MTG here. There's some interesting points in this video since we're already here. How she resigned, okay? Well, this week we covered this, all right? We said, oh, this is interesting that MTG is taking on Trump. She's trying to do something. She's trying to take MAGA for herself. But Trump won. Trump won this week. He just destroyed MTG because when you quit, you lose. When you quit, you lose. Is she doing this for more cynical reasons? Maybe. I think she gets a pension when she's resigning. She's going to get a pension. I mean, does she need a pension? She's probably already rich. She has a construction company, and she has all the insider trading that she did. So I don't really think it's about a pension. She has a pedigree, which is pretty good. She'll probably get a job at Fox News. I really would have liked to see MTG stick around. She was actually starting to surprise me. I was starting to like her. And now Trump won. Trump won, dude. Good for Trump. Good for Trump. I'm going to congratulate her. I'm not going to play her hate. I do not play her hate, dude. Trump won this week. He got this woman out of his, yes, and those are crosses on her Christmas tree. Dude, I really liked her. I thought she was going to do some interesting split within MAGA, but Trump is just a genius. I don't know if he called her to do this. It seems way out of character. This was announced a few hours ago. I was on my jog when it was announced. I was like, no fucking way. Why would she do that? Why make all the big show? So either it's a cynical ploy from her that she was planning from the start of the week, or Trump got on the phone and he's like, we're going to do things to you that have never been done to anyone before. So let's watch the actual video. Fuad says, hey, Leo, can you show me on the doll where the journalist touched you? Dude, I'm telling you, man, every journalist that I have met, they always fuck you, man. They always fuck you. And they don't fuck you. You see them fuck other people, and you're like, you are a sociopath. You're a psychopath. But whatever. Let's get into MTG.
Hi, everyone. I've always represented the common American man and woman as a member of the House of Representatives, which is why I've always been despised in Washington, D.C.
Schofield said she's screwing the party. One last vote. But the thing is, Schofield, with the way that Trump is moving, I mean, this is Donald Mobutu. Like, the laws don't even matter. They matter in retrospect, right? Where a judge is going to throw out the Comey case. But I don't even think he's concerned about this. In fact, I think it's kind of liberating because he's going to endorse someone and the cult will come out and vote for them, you know? That's why Florida's an interesting race right now, because I think Byron Donalds has not received the endorsement, or DeSantis, his wife. I don't know if she's running, or I think he endorsed Byron Donalds for governor. I'm pretty sure. And DeSantis' wife has not stepped in because of that. And if she goes in, she's going to lose, because the Trump endorsement, I mean, you win, you know? You win with the Trump endorsement. So if you get out of the way, you're making room for someone to come in that's just a full-on loyalist. Someone with no sense of scruples, no nothing.
And just never fit in. Americans are used by the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side can convince Americans to hate the other side more. And the result...
Now watch her eyes. She's reading here, which I'm not saying it's unusual or something, but this means that it was planned out. This was planned out. It was not something that was random. This was a planned out speech. They have a teleprompter or cards.
Are always the same. No matter which way the political pendulum swings, Republican or Democrat, nothing ever gets better for the common American man or woman. The debt goes higher. Corporate and global interests remain Washington's sweethearts. American jobs continue to be replaced, whether it's by illegal labor or legal labor by visas or just shipped overseas. Small businesses continue to be swallowed by big corporations. Americans' hard-earned tax dollars always fund foreign wars, foreign aid, and foreign interest. And the spending power of the dollar continues to decline. The average American family can no longer survive on a single breadwinner's income, as both parents have to work in order to simply survive. And today, many in my children's generation feel hopeless for their future. And
what I find interesting is, dude, everyone's starting to sound like Zohran. I think that Zohran broke the dam for these, or it was probably Tucker Carlson, actually. Tucker Carlson broke the dam for this in that interview with Ben Shapiro years ago, where you can drop the, you don't want to drop the label, but you drop all of the dogma of being a Democrat or a leftist or a right-winger or a conservative or a Republican. No one cares about that anymore because they're all speaking the same. They're saying, hey, dude, people are getting screwed. They're getting screwed. Does she believe it? Is it a pressure release valve? This reminds me a lot. I don't know if anyone remembers this. Trey Gowdy resigned in 2016 too, I think, or 2017. Trump was in office and he resigned and he said it was because he didn't want to deal with this, that the Republican Party has lost. And when I saw that at the time, I was like, you are a pathetic individual. Whether you support Trump or not, why aren't you staying there to fight? It reminds me a lot of the Trey Gowdy resignation.
Don't think they will ever realize the American dream, and that breaks my heart. I ran for Congress in 2020 and have fought every single day believing that Make America Great Again meant America first. I have one of the most conservative voting records in Congress, defending the First Amendment, Second Amendment, unborn babies because I believe God creates life at conception, and I love to fight for the little guy. Strong, safe borders, I have fought hard for that. I've fought against COVID tyrannical insanity and mandated mass vaccinations, and I've never voted to fund foreign wars with your hard-earned tax dollars. However, with almost 1 year into our majority, the legislature has been mostly sidelined. We endured an 8-week shutdown, wrongly, resulting in the House not working for the entire time, and we are entering campaign season, which means all courage leaves and only safe campaign re-election mode is turned on in the House of Representatives. During the longest shutdown in our nation's history, I raged against my own speaker and my own party for refusing to proactively work diligently to pass a plan to save Americans' health care and protect Americans from outrageous, overpriced, and unaffordable health insurance policies. The House should have been in session working every day to fix this disaster, but instead, America was force-fed disgusting political drama once again from both sides of the aisle on television every single day. My bills, which reflect many of President Trump...
This is a shame, man, because she's really speaking all the right notes that I like. She's like the enlightened centrist, not the Tim Pool dim-witted fence-sitter. She's an enlightened centrist. She's here. She's above it. She's changed. She's learned that this whole, like, crazy lady grift she was doing was not... So why is she leaving? Why is she leaving? I thought we were going to have some sort of return to centrism, which I know everyone hates, but hey, everyone was less crazy when people are centrists. Everyone's less crazy. You can go to the grocery store and not get roped into a conversation about, I don't know, the Epstein files or 9/11, or you can just buy your stuff, you know, so...
Trump's executive orders, like calling for a new census counting Americans only to draw new districts, making English the official...
Everything says maybe she wants to work in the background. When you give up power, though, I mean, what is she going to do? The only option I see, because I get what you're saying, man, but like, what, she's going to go in the media and lobby Trump like that? Or she's going to, you know, become a power player in the background and start fucking with people and trying to get them to do what she wants? I think this is a huge give up of power, a huge one, because does she have the talent for anything else? Has she even tested it out?
language of the U.S., making it a felony to medically trans a minor, and other bills like
Will, I know Tim Pool is, I know he's not centrist, but I like the dim-witted Tim Pool fence sitter meme.
eliminating capital gains taxes on the sale of your primary home, and eliminating H-1B visas. Just sit. They all sit collecting dust. That's how it is for most members of Congress bills. The Speaker never brings them to the floor for a vote. Many common Americans are no longer easily convinced by paid political...
This is literally Trey Gowdy. He was interviewed by Vice, and he said, Congress is broken, that's why I have to leave. I can't get anything passed. It's the same talking points. And that's the thing. Look at Trey Gowdy. What happened with him after he left? I don't know. I don't know where Trey Gowdy is. Do you know where Trey Gowdy is? I'm sure he's on Fox News every once in a while.
Propaganda spokespersons and consultants on TV and paid shills on social media obediently serving with cult-like conviction to force others to swallow the political party talking points. Because they know how much credit card debt they have, they know how much their bills have gone up over the past 5 years. They actually do their own grocery shopping and no food costs too much. Their rent has increasingly gone up and up. They have been outbid by corporate asset managers too many times when they put in an offer to buy a house. They have been laid off after being forced to train their visa holding replacement. The college degree they were told to earn only left them in debt with no big six-figure salary. They see more homeless people than ever on their own community streets.
Because you know what would be powerful is if she was like, I'm a Democrat now. That'd be interesting if she switched labels. It's like, hey, I'm still officially a Republican, but now I identify as a Democrat. The Democrats can count on me as a reliable vote. That would be more pressure than resigning. Resigning is like, oh, I'm jumping off this ship. It's not working anymore. And this whole thing is just this, man. It's just pressure release, and then she announces that she's resigning. And I'm going to miss you, MTG. I thought you were going to do something cool because you just gave Trump a huge win. Again, here's Trump this week at the end of the week.
I won.
He won. He won. And I reckon player recognizes player. I'm not going to hate on him for it. Some people have a good week. Some people have bad weeks. Good for him. The Zohran coalition with MAGA grows. MTG is cast out of the castle. It's over. All right, everybody. We didn't get to Laura Loomer. I'll save that for next time. Went late tonight, man. Tonight's Bill Maher. Let me see if Bill Maher was on. I think he might be taking a week off. This fucking moron. Let's see what Bill Maher's doing. Let's see. Oh boy, it's Donna Brazile. Yes. I hate this woman. Let's look at this. It's Donna Brazile and Killer Mike. I'm not a huge Killer Mike fan. Killer Mike, Michael Render, and Donna Brazile.
They went to
the lying cheater. Donna Brazile, the liar who should be in jail. Donna Brazile is on Bill Maher tonight. Perfect. This is fucking ice picks to my balls. I love it. It's going to be terrible. And who's the featured guest? Mel Robbins? Who's Mel Robbins? Bill welcomes personal growth expert and podcast host Mel Robbins. Does anyone know who this woman is? Does anyone know who this is? I don't know who this is. All right, so I'm going to torture myself because every time I see Donna Brazile, I hate Donna Brazile, dude. Donna Brazile is one of the worst people ever. And she does these funky faces because she's cool. She's cool. This fucking disgusting piece of shit. Disgusting. So Bill Maher is going to be great tonight. I everything says, so is this Thomas Massey? So is Thomas Massey just... That's a good one. That's a good one. Gustavo Fring was MTG. I guess Zohran was Todd, right? He brought Todd on board. And Jesse is Thomas Massey. Oh, my God. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry I wasn't able to read the chats tonight. I just wanted to get through the speech and all that. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I really have to pee. Join the Discord. The link is in the chat. It's pinned. It's also in the description. I don't know if it works or not. If it doesn't work, please comment in the description. Be like, this link doesn't work, and I'll try to fix it. I'm still learning on this one. Consider joining the Patreon. Let me open this up here. The Patreon. It's $5 or $20 a month. We actually have another new member who is a free member. I don't care if you guys are free or paid, man. Just get in that Patreon. Help it grow. Let me get this here. Where is this? Patreon. There we go. All right. So Patreon here. $5 or $20 a month, up to you. It helps the channel grow. The Discord here, join. It helps us crowdsource stories. If you're there, Audio Vibes is in there. And here's our parody bracelet, $10 a month. Link is in the description. What would Piers Morgan do? Not affiliated or endorsed by Piers Morgan. With that, everybody, I need to go watch Bill Maher. And let's let this one out for Trump. For any lefty or anyone that's confused or angry at him,
You can't keep getting away with it! You can't keep getting away with it!
he did get away with it. He keeps getting away with it. He's going to win. I'm sorry, you guys, with the chat tonight, but thank you for adding me when I wanted to do it. Thank you to Will. Thank you to Mr. Elo. Thank you to Schofield. Thank you to I Hate Everything. Thank you to Jose. Thank you to Full Hat. Thank you to Audio Vibes. Thank you to Robert, who was here briefly. Thank you to Pajarito Lindo. We had a lot of people here, man. I appreciate you guys. Channel's growing at an accelerated rate. I gotta get out of here, dude. I gotta get out of here. I need to go to the bathroom. Dude, this went over time, and I kept drinking this water. All right, never mind. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys putting up with my journalist rant. Appreciate all of you, People's Press. I will see you guys on Tuesday. See you then. Consider becoming a member on YouTube, too.
Change the world. My final message. Goodbye. 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 Change the world. My final message. Goodbye.